some summertime, it's nice, hey, yeah. It's the IDP show, now you know.
Welcome to the IDP show. I'm your host, Josh Raymer, joined in the Sode Shack tonight. On my right, Adam Markham. On my left, Bobby Reynolds. Gentlemen, how are we this evening?
Doing very well, Josh.
Cracked you a good beer right before the intro kicked off.
Tried to get it in, but apparently I didn't.
Yeah, we were unmuted at that point, Bobo. There's no hiding it.
I loved it. I loved it.
We got some beautiful weather. You got out and do any disc golf here recently?
Played today.
Look at
About
you.
what time is it? About an hour ago.
Look at you.
It was a rough day.
Where'd you play?
Kyriakis. Ran leagues, a little putter only round, just to do something different. You know, I don't know if y'all have ever played a putter only round. I know you've definitely never played a putter only round.
I've only ever played with you.
So a putter is essentially it's like the thicker of the like the frisbees. Like it doesn't go as far. You know, catches a lot of wind. So it makes it harder. It makes it kind of evens the playing field a little bit for everybody. You know, you're not always throwing everything so hard. But, yeah, it's a good night in Kentucky, man. I'm loving this summer. Even with the wind coming through and everything today, the clouds are really cool. Corn's popping up in rows.
Love to see it.
It's been a great summer. Summer's by far the best.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a fall guy.
Yeah, I am
But this
too.
summer's been
I am too.
nice because it's not been as hot.
Summer and fall both just crush.
Yeah.
You got the football stuff with fall, so that's amazing. Honestly.
You have easy access to a pool, so that definitely helps.
Yeah.
Golf is
Yep.
great in the
Yep.
summertime. Twilight rounds are amazing.
Not a pool boy, though. But I do agree with you. It hasn't been, like, as hot. I
Yeah.
know, like, Arizona and Texas have been,
Ooh,
like, pretty
yeah.
miserable. But Kentucky's been all right.
Shout out the
80s.
Young King. Stay inside,
Yeah.
Young King. Don't go out into the desert where these people are trying to be there when the thermometer hits 138 degrees.
Sure.
Don't do that.
So let's revisit. I don't know if Adam knows. I'm sure he listened to the little snippet pod, but Bucky's ×2 in the
right.
last week or so.
It took about a week for Bobby to be converted.
Just couldn't stand it.
That's right.
It was meant to be. It was meant to be. I got the brisket on the way down with the apple pie, and the apple pie was freaking fire. The brisket was okay. I will say it was a little fatty for my liking, but the buns were pretty awesome.
Were you in there when they pulled the brisket out and had it on the board?
Chopped it all.
They
They're
yell
hollering.
brisket on the board?
Yeah.
Yep.
It gives you chills up your
It
spine.
does give you chills, boy, I tell you.
But I didn't come through early enough to get the breakfast. I was a little bummed. We came back up through Atlanta. Shout out Kyborg. I almost messaged you. Just be like, hey, you want
to
hang?
come to the gas station and hang out? Yeah.
Want to meet at Bucky's in Atlanta? Oh, I'm not weird. But anyways, yeah, I don't remember where we were coming back up through. We went to the Chattanooga aquarium.
Yes,
To
very
the,
good aquarium
not
there.
the freshwater side. We went to the ocean. We had to see the sharks. Pretty epic. Pretty epic.
Chattanooga's a great little spot. We did our anniversary there last year.
It was a great city.
Yeah, great city. Very underrated.
Aquarium Zoo is a great place to take the kids.
Oh, yeah.
We just did it recently. Even the 1-year-old loved it. Just face all over the glass. I'm sure the workers love that.
Oh,
Sure.
yeah. Which zoo did you guys go to?
Nashville.
Nashville
Nice.
Zoo's awesome.
It's a good spot.
A lot of shade trees there.
Good spot.
So-
And now I know for next time you can bring your own cooler in there.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Get
Bring your own
absolutely
brews in there,
Get
baby.
absolutely ripped and fall into
Sure.
the monkey enclosure.
Sure.
Just end up on someone's
Hey,
TikTok.
if you're gonna do it, might as well be a little sauced up.
That's right.
I feel it.
Maybe help you get through a day with your kids.
Gotta have it.
We love our kids.
What
though.
have you been doing? How's
Yeah,
your
we're
kids?
blessed.
Yes, we are hashtag so blessed in the Raymer household
She's
because
sleeping?
baby McLean is sleeping like the dead. So we are very, very thankful for that. Every night, sleeps through the night. So
Dude.
we are not sleep deprived zombies. So
Good.
Love that.
That's the most important thing. If you could just sleep, you'll be okay.
Again, I think they
Thankfully.
just sense that you're like, okay, this guy's got a handle
He's
on
not
this.
freaking out.
That first one was like, something's up with these two.
Yeah, exactly. Tell these two to chill. It's like you wonder what babies are thinking and trying to tell you. They're just trying to tell you to chill
Yeah.
out, bro.
These two are scaring me.
Yeah, they are too tightly
They
wound.
keep standing over me all the time.
Yeah. Like right in my face. It's like, back up, man. You wonder why I'm looking at you cross-eyed. You're right in my grill.
Yeah. It's probably terrifying being a baby.
It probably is. A lot of things, they startle all the time. That's like so cute though, when they're sleeping and they startle. It is. The little things that we love about our kids.
Oh, me.
Well, speaking of things we love, let's talk some IDP as well, boys. We have a awesome jam-packed episode. If you want news, if you want training camp updates, this is the episode for you. We are literally only going to do training camp news, and we're going to go team by team and do it. The roster construction talk that we had mentioned on the last episode, Addy is going to do that as a YouTube video, so look forward to that. Tonight, you are just getting your news fix. So, fellas, what do you say we jump right into it? Start things off in the AFC West. Like I said, we're going to go team by team. Arn pulled out all the important notes. Now, let's start with one of the players you've been hyping up this offseason, Tyree Wilson. He hasn't practiced since the Raiders drafted him. He continues to rehab a foot injury he suffered last November. He's currently on the non-football injury list. McDaniels didn't give a timeline for his return, but said he's not worried about his status this season. Does this worry you at all?
No. We kind of figured this was going to be the case. I mean, the guy did have surgery. So, yeah, this is just part of the process. That's what happens when you get injured. You got to have surgery. You got to take some time to heal and get your foot right. So, yeah, everyone calm down. It's going to be fine. It's okay. It's just practice.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, we'd love for him to be out there. We love for him to be learning and stuff, but it's okay. I mean, he's in a situation where it's going to be nice for him, I think, to kind of get eased in like that, you know.
I think he he might start the season on the PUP. So that is something to keep in mind.
That's fine. I don't think anyone was. We weren't suggesting anyone draft this guy in redraft.
You're probably not starting Tyree Wilson if you've got him in like Dynasty the first month of the season anyway, because we just need to see it. So if he misses the first 4 games going on PUP, that's okay.
Now, he definitely did have one of the better opportunities to kind of, get some usage early on in the season, just because the depth there behind Chandler Jones is pretty non-existent. So there was opportunity, but this isn't necessarily a bad thing, I don't think.
Just take your time, rest up.
It's a bad defense, though.
100%.
Speaking of bad defense, they hosted former Pro Bowl linebacker. I like how that's in there. Jalen Smith for a workout last week. I got to thinking about a former Giants linebacker as well, Blake Martinez. Have y'all seen that he was banned off the Pokemon
He's
exchange platform?
Up to no, like I remember seeing like a story about him like 2 weeks ago. Like, what, this guy is crushing it.
Yeah,
and then 2 weeks later, it's like he is in some major trouble.
Immediately canceled.
Trending on Twitter or on Sleeper, then he was trending.
Yeah, it was like, oh, look at Blake Martinez. He's found his passion after football with Pokemon cards. And turns out he was scamming everyone. So hate to see it.
Way to go, Blake.
Yes, but Jalen Smith, not worried. We'll talk a little later when we get to Philadelphia about them signing some linebackers. It's still going to be Double D and Big Bob Spillane there.
Yeah, it's like one of those things you just monitor throughout the season. If there's an injury to one of those guys, that's what it's going to take for Jalen Smith to be relevant.
What's happening right now is teams are seeing areas of weakness with their backups, with their draft picks, and they're saying, okay, let's get a little bit of veteran depth in here. We saw, John Johnson III signed back in L.A. We talked, Philadelphia signed a couple linebackers. This is going to start happening more and more.
Justin Houston today.
Yep, Justin Houston, Deion Jones. People are shoring up their rosters now that they actually get a look at these guys in padded practices and scrimmages. And
it's not setting up well for McDaniels. That team's going to be bad again this year, and then people are going to be clamoring for him to maybe lose the job. Yeah. So, I don't know.
It's like that team's gonna be bad. I'm telling y'all. It's like
both sides
feels like the bottom is gonna fall out.
And the division's awesome.
Yeah,
I mean the AFC's awesome.
The Broncos should be better with Sean Payton.
I think they'll be pretty solid.
I think they could be 8 or 9 wins. That feels about right.
Maybe no Josh Jacobs. He's like the only RB that's kind of still firmly holding out. So we'll see what that looks like.
So you just ship everybody off if you're McDaniels and just say, look, we're rebuilding. You can't judge us for being bad.
Can't fire me now.
Yeah. So let's talk about another beloved IDP DB from the Raiders, Nate Hobbs. He said, I'm ready to go whenever I need to. Corner, nickel. I'm just trying to help the team. Said he does like playing in the slot where he's moved back to in camp thus far. Allows him to use his instincts. I love Nate Hobbs. He's probably my third favorite target. Of course, Max, XXX Crosby, Divine Diablo, Nate Hobbs, I would say.
Yeah.
Pecking order there for Raiders IDPs.
Yeah, I think so. The problem is everyone loves Nate Hobbs.
That's right.
The
Nate Hobbs train has picked up steam.
It's true.
This will not help either. More of the slot usage. We're talking about how bad of a defense they are, which means they're going to play. I mean, that team's going to be bad, so they're going to play more snaps, I think. Nate Hobbs is going to be – he's going to be really good this year. As long as he can stay healthy, he's going to be really, really good.
Yeah. So
one final note on Tyree Wilson. How much do you boys have of him in best ball?
I think I have 1 or 2 shares. Do you have a lot?
0.
I have
Zero?
none.
0.
Yeah.
Again, just not in on him for we know about the foot stuff, and then just it's going to take him a little bit. I think.
Yeah.
Or it was a foot, right?
Yeah, but just the way you said it made it sound like he was
Yeah.
into feet or something.
Yeah, he might be.
Yeah.
No judgments here.
Yeah.
No
Hey.
judgment. Whatever you're into. All right, let's talk Chiefs. Bobo.
Sure.
I think our most popular short this offseason was about Drew Tranquil landing in Kansas City.
Ooh, more tranquil shorts.
More tranquilizer shorts coming up, potentially. We've been dropping them every day, folks, so make sure you're following us. YouTube.com/@the-IDP show.
tranquil minute.
That's right. Tranquil has been holding strong as our most popular short. So where has he been lining up? Everywhere. He has played all 3 linebacker roles throughout camp and has been seen playing sub packages with Nick Bolton. He might not be a starter, but that snake, Spagnuolo, has spent much of camp experimenting with Tranquil, using him as the top backup with the green dot, the defender who shares the initial play call and any pre-snap adjustments with his teammates. I think Drew Tranquil might be a sleeping giant this season for IDP.
I've been saying it all along. That's the LB2 you want, and I mean, value-wise, that's the linebacker you want in Kansas City. I mean, because he's being completely slept on at this point. Like, you can get this guy as like, what's the
I'll pull up the ADP. I think he's in the 40s, though.
yes. And I mean, you know, if he does end up getting 70 to 80% of the snaps, I mean, good God. He's going to ball. He's going to average 13 to 14 points per game.
I don't know that it will be clear to start the season, but I think if there's an injury, say Willie Gay misses some time, I could see Drew Tranquil grabbing a hold of that spot and not letting Willie Gay back on the field.
I like Tranquil. He's a leader. He's a heady guy. I think he's going to do just fine there in Kansas City.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. He is LB 53 right now.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Let's see where, I bet Willie Gay is probably above him. Yep, he's 48. And then our boy, the bus scaler, Leo Chenal, is, let's see, he's down here at LB 79. So
Yeah.
you can see the pecking order. People like Nick Bolton, then Willie Gay, then Drew Tranquil, then Leo Chenal.
No.
I think, honestly, I read this today driving down the road, and it got me to thinking, like, I think it's really just an embarrassment of riches is essentially what it is. You forget that these teams do not care about our IDP points. They care about winning football games. And if you're the Chiefs, you don't care about necessarily winning week 1 through 10. You care about winning week 10 through 20, you know, because they're going to be in the postseason. They want to have their guys healthy, and they want to have people that are available in case Nick Bolton gets hurt, in case, you know, Willie Gay gets hurt, in case Leo Chenal, there's actually been a little bit of buzz out from him, I think, this offseason. So, I don't know. I see it more as this team is just using linebackers in a rotational aspect probably this year. I think Bolton is still going to be the green dot. I think he's the one that stays on the field, but I do think the other 3 will be a much more rotational pattern than we have been used to in the last couple of years. Even the DBs there could be the same also. Mike Edwards, Justin Reed supposedly has gotten a more firm grasp of the defense at this point.
Brian Cook.
Brian Cook's still there.
Yep. So
Darius Sneed.
it's a great team. It's a great team, and Spagnuolo knows that he's got a bunch of good guys that he can it's a great signing in Tranquil. Why not go get a guy like that? It's a good contract for them.
Add to his strength.
Yep. It's going to be difficult for the Chiefs here in the next year or so, though, because Willie Gay is going to walk. They're not going to be able to afford him and Nick Bolton. I feel like Nick Bolton is the guy that they probably keep, but maybe not. Maybe they can't afford Bolton.
Feels like a Shaq Leonard, Bobby Okereke situation where Shaq, a.k.a. Nick Bolton, stays, and they let Willie Gay walk.
Yeah,
Yep.
It feels that way.
So let's keep it rolling, though, and talk about another rookie edge rusher. Felix Anaduke Uzama received a handful of reps with the first-team defense Friday, a first for him in camp in the 9-on-7 period. Anaduke Uzama struggled at the point of attack at times against left tackle Donovan Smith. We know FAU is going to have some opportunity this season opposite of George Karlaftis. But, I mean, this is to be expected. I would be shocked if we weren't hearing, rookie edge rusher struggling, with spin moves or stunts or power or whatever the case might be. These guys are going up against grown men, offensive linemen. That Chiefs offensive line is great. So if he's getting first-team reps against that line, I'd expect this guy to struggle.
Yep. It's going to take some time, but massive opportunity for FAU. And he had a lot of fans, in our little IDP world. So, I expect him to be someone that has a pretty solid year and someone that we're all excited about going into year 2.
Was there a Kansas City injury? Did somebody get hurt? Another edge rusher for them?
Well, a Minihue got
That's
suspended.
what it was. Yes, okay.
Frank Clark's gone,
Yep.
So, I mean.
Dunlap's not back.
I could see them maybe bringing somebody in if the money's right.
Yeah.
Clowney.
Sure, yeah, they could do
Robert
that.
Quinn. Somebody that's kind of still hanging around. They do that. Kind of known for that.
Yeah. Let's keep the rookie train rolling. I love it. Chargers camp. We are talking about Deion Henley. He has been impressing in camp, especially in coverage where he looks fantastic. No surprise given this guy's background. He had 2 pass breakups in his 2 reps, showing good feel and instincts and reading routes and breaking on the ball. However, he's still firmly entrenched. This was interesting. Behind Kenneth Murray at this point, while Murray manning the second LB role beside Eric Kendricks. Do we think that Murray holds on to this LB2 job, though?
You never know. I mean, I haven't keeping up with his offseason. I mean, you hope that he knows where he stands. He knows what he probably has to do. I mean, he saw them draft a linebacker that was coming for his job. He knows they brought in Eric Kendricks. It's not like they didn't address the room. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, if he's, if he wants to get playing time there in L.A., he's going to have, worked his ass off this offseason and make a huge change. So, I mean, is he good enough, though?
I don't think he is.
I don't think he is either.
No. I think this feels like a situation where he holds off Deion Henley until the bye, and then we see this guy get put on the shelf.
Yeah, I mean, we talked a lot going into some of our rookie drafts about the IDPs and how Will Anderson is one that we trust, and then maybe one of Campbell or Sanders. But aside from that, I'm still, regardless of training camp information, tempering my expectations on FAU, Tyree Wilson, Deion Henley. I mean, we could list all the guys that we're going to talk tonight.
We've learned our lesson.
Exactly.
All of them, really.
Yeah.
Outside of Will, I'm excited about Will Anderson.
Yeah.
I would feel comfortable starting Will Anderson right out the gate.
I think so too. But outside of him,
That's probably it.
I don't even Jack Campbell. Nope.
Yep.
Unless we see him getting like clear first team run. I think it's going to be Porn Thor, Alex Anzalone probably as the LB1 for Detroit to start out. But
week 1, I'm not throwing Campbell in my starting lineup.
Nope.
No.
I need to see that first.
Let's just wait and see. Like Johnny the Greek always says, don't get cute. Just start your studs.
Yeah.
Like, let's not get crazy here in week 1 of the season.
First couple weeks are like that.
Yeah. Well, you ask about Murray. He had one of the best defensive plays of the day, an 11-on-11. First down Spiller handoff. He shot through an inside gap, tackle for loss. He's looked much more comfortable in run defense in camp. This is from Brandon Staley, the head coach. You've seen more playmaking. You've seen the physicality. You've seen the speed that I think you guys have seen at times, but now you're seeing it a lot more consistently. He's having a very quality camp for us.
You've seen it at times.
Sure.
Kenneth Murray can be a decent quarterback at times. He can have the pop plays. It's just that in IDP, he's not going to be one of these guys that goes out and puts up 12 tackles. He's just a big play, a wow kind of guy if you're actually watching them on TV. But then he can just kind of disappear for a while. I don't see this as much different from last year, aside from maybe the run defense coverage. I don't know what your all's take is on Kenneth Murray. I'm off of him, but I'm not completely ignoring him. Like a guy like Deion Henley, it might take him a while to kind of progress, and Kenneth Murray might be some ugly stats for the year.
He's LB 75 right now.
I mean,
so if you want to take a shot, not going to cost you anything.
Yeah, it's fine.
And Eric Kendricks, exactly like Adam said, 6 months ago, has pretty clearly taken a step back. So Kendricks is not the LB1 in Minnesota that he used to be. So Kenneth Murray is not going to be an LB1. Don't hear me say that. But he might be usable for us this year in IDP.
If you want to use him, get him early because I think his time is not.
Something happened to Kendricks. Kendricks is like 32 at this point, So, I mean, there is that possibility. He's a really good handcuff regardless.
Yeah. Henley, the market likes Henley. He's LB 63. So he is the LB2 for the Chargers, at least in the eyes of the market.
But again, in best ball, I don't have Henley anywhere.
No, same.
I think I have a couple of shares of Henley.
I don't think I've drafted hardly any rookies.
I'm drafting a couple just for the back part of the season because I do think some rookies will get some play. But, yeah, for the most part, it's been go for the vets.
Yeah,
because we have more certainty with those guys.
I don't want to take any risk at all.
And in best ball, though, you kind of got to take a risk every once in a while where it's like, all right, everybody
you do have to
probably
differentiate your roster.
You go and grab 2 or 3 guys.
And those tournaments and stuff.
I'm not going crazy.
Yeah,
I'm not going crazy, but I'll sprinkle in, rookies here and there. I mean, I took them in madness. I took Henley, and I took Dorian Williams. So We'll talk about Dorian Williams here in a little bit. It sounds like his outlook is dimmed a little bit compared to Henley.
Bust.
Exactly. Let's talk about the Broncos, though. The pass rushers are standing out. Frank Clark, Nick Bonito, even Jonathan Cooper getting a little bit of love. So we also have a little blurb here about Drew Sanders. Strength was on display during the 11-on-11 period. As wide receiver Michael Bandy was running on the outside, Sanders clotheslined him into the sideline for a loss of yards. So the defense, it sounds like, is having its way with this Broncos offense. There are some pieces that I like there in Denver. Obviously, we love the linebackers, Josie Jewell, Alex Singleton, and then Zach Allen. I'm a big fan of him this season. And I think Randy Gregory is a nice late dart throw. Nick Bonito, Jonathan Cooper, not really on my radar. Very excited for Drew Sanders in Dynasty, but not so much for 2023. I think this team, honestly, is pretty cut and dry in terms of who I'm targeting and who I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a solid defense. And they're always a solid defense.
Yep.
Justin Simmons, it's someone you didn't mention, but he's a great option for you at safety there. It is. I mean, it's a kind of a weird mix of guys, you know? I mean, but I do feel like it's probably going to work out okay. I really like Zach Allen a lot.
Yeah, don't forget Baron Browning will be back in the mix. He probably starts the season on PUP, but he'll be back.
Yeah. So, yeah, Broncos always outperform what you think they're going to do, it seems, at least on the defensive side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll see. It's an odd collection of talent, though, Bobo.
Yeah, Jonathan Cooper, maybe pay attention to him. He's got a nice little tackle floor at times. He had a couple of games of 5-7 tackles last year. I think only 2 sacks. Didn't get a ton of snaps, but I don't know. Maybe a name just to kind of put a pin in. Because if for instance, you just said his name, Baron Browning is not healthy and doesn't come back, and if they have a couple injuries, he might get a little bit of run there. So we'll see.
He is edge 143. So talk about not paying anything for a guy. Mm-hmm. That is definitely $0 you'd have to spend to get Jonathan Cooper on your roster. Let's talk about the AFC South. The Houston Texans. Will Anderson Jr. continues to cause disruption. Anderson's best play of the night came when he rushed up the B-gap to record a sack on C.J. Stroud. The play marked the second consecutive practice he recorded a sack on the presumed starter under center. I'm not calling for a Micah Parsons type of rookie season. I think Parsons was maybe a smidge better prospect coming out, but the advantage that Will Anderson is going to have is I don't think they're playing this guy any at stand-up off-ball linebacker. So I'm viewing them pretty similar. I mean,
me too. I mean,
I've got stars in my eyes right now for Will Anderson.
Yeah, same, man. I mean, I think it's going to be a great season for him immediately. I mean, he was, the second overall pick? Third overall pick. So, I mean, he already has the draft capital for Michael Parsons. But, I mean, I think in terms of talent, those are very similar players, elite athletes, elite college producers, high motor guys, high character guys. I mean, there's a good chance that Will Anderson immediately transforms that defense.
Yeah. That building,
kind of like Michael Parsons did.
That building has juice now, Bobo. You got C.J. Stroud on the offense. You've got Will Anderson on the defense. You've got a new head coach in D'Amico Ryans. It's a new era in Houston. I think this team could be better than we expect.
Maybe.
6 or 7 wins.
It's
I'm not
solid.
talking about a 10-win team here.
It's a lot of Christian Harris. What does he become? There's been a lot of buzz about him.
A lot of buzz about Christian
looking decent.
Harris. Yep.
Your boy Jonathan Grenard is there.
Mm-hmm.
They brought in some, I think, decent interior guys, if I remember. Didn't they bring Sheldon Rankins or something like that? But then, Perriman, Kirksey, they got some just solid vets. That'll be
Littleton.
Solid team.
That'll be a fine team.
Yeah.
He'll be a hard out. That's going to be that's not a layup.
It was a layup last year. I think they won 2 games. But no, this team will be much improved, I think, in 2023. Henry 2020 made a fantastic read stuffing Dameon Pierce at the line of scrimmage. He's in a heavy battle for the Mike linebacker spot with the ones against veteran Denzel Perryman, according to Texans Cap from Over the Cap. So
you called this smoke on our podcast.
Yeah, it's smoke. I'm not worried about
smoke.
Yeah, I'm not worried about
you think, but I'm saying smoke from the point of Perryman over Christian Harris. You think Perryman's LB1 there to start with?
I think there's 2 viable linebackers sort of in a Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw type of setup. I mean, that's what we saw D'Amico Ryans do in San Francisco, so I expect the same. Now, the question is, which linebacker do you think gets the LB1 role and the lion's share of the snaps?
I feel like Christian Harris is more of a 100% snap type guy, just because I don't think Pearman can do that, and he hasn't really done that.
Yeah.
He's been more of like a 60 to 80%. Like I think he does kind of struggle in coverage, especially where he is at, now in his NFL career.
Yeah.
So I do feel like he wouldn't be a 100% snap type guy, but it doesn't matter. I mean, if he gets 70% of the snaps, that dude is a tackle machine. And that's plenty. Like, he'll still be probably the most productive linebacker, even if he doesn't get 100%. But yeah, I think, that main gig is there for the taking, just because I think that's not paramount at this point in his career.
And it seems like Christian Harris is the guy they want to take it.
Yeah.
I mean, the early reports have been saying he's not coming off the field, so.
And they should. They
Yeah.
should let him work through it. This guy, I mean, has talent. He's also from Alabama, former third-round pick. Like, let him work through his issues that he's going to definitely have being a young guy. We see it all the time.
Can he rebound from being, I think, the worst graded linebacker in the NFL last year?
Surely.
That's going to be the question.
Yeah.
But he only can do that if he plays.
Yeah.
So,
We're rooting for him to get in the 30s, no doubt.
yeah, get up maybe in the 40s. Like, let's get crazy. Let's get nuts.
Wasn't he like 28 something?
He was
I'm saying
28, I think.
It was real low.
28.3 or something.
tough scene.
Very tough scene.
Some of my chemistry grades.
Yeah, I was going to say,
That's
I
right.
think I had a couple tests look like that.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, but it wasn't me, it was Adam. I was just trying to make you feel better. Let's talk about the Titans. Another linebacker that we are more excited about is Azeez Al-Shaair. Keeps earning mentions because he keeps making plays on the practice field. Al-Shaair met Derrick Henry in the backfield on one play, and then he met Hassan Haskins in the backfield on another.
How you doing?
How you
Nice
doing?
to meet
Let's
you.
go get some
My
Dairy Queen
name's
after
Azeez.
this. Al-Shaair was once again around the football all day. Man, it seems like he is about to have himself a season in Tennessee.
Sure. And I think every single person is pegging him to have it.
Yeah.
Another one of these types that everyone just is not shutting up about.
Yep.
And I respect it. I'm a fan. I think he's going to do great things as well. But I'm not sure he's going to be a value for us.
Yeah.
I mean,
LB 33 right now.
that's getting close.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's going to outperform that.
I think he's.
But are there better values you can find in that range potentially?
100%.
Let's look at who's going around him. So we have
Like a Troy Anderson potentially, Caden Ellis potentially.
Yeah, so Jordan Hicks goes right after him. Jamin Davis, as long as he doesn't go to jail. Divine Diablo, Caden Ellis, Brian Asamoah, Demario Davis, David Long, Shaq Thompson, Quincy Williams, Christian Harris.
Well, that's not terrible.
Decent
Yeah.
range.
I don't mind it. I don't mind him there at 33.
I
I just feel like 33 may be a thing of the past. I feel like that
Yeah.
may be like rising to like the 20s.
Yeah, 23.
Yeah, he has been. He's actually. Let's see. He went higher in Madness, so that's a good indication. Like compared to his ADP for the entire offseason, he went across those 12 drafts about 11 spots earlier.
Wow.
It's about a full round ahead.
So he was going as 22.
Yeah, pretty much.
That'll
I
be
mean,
22.
he was 86 overall,
And that's what
he
I'm
was
afraid
going
of.
as 75
That's what I'm afraid
overall in
of.
Madness.
I will say, though, keep in mind, and y'all might hate this take, but Monty Rice had 2 games. 2 of the last 5 games, he had double-digit tackles. He had a 12-tackle game and a 13-tackle game. So
Monty Rice got to hold off Jack Gibbons.
Monty Rice might not be like the best linebacker, but I just don't know that Azeez is really going to put up the stats that we're looking for at LB 33.
I think he's what we wanted David Long to be there last season. I think Azeez is a better version of David Long.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen flashes from Azeez that rival what David Long has done in his time in Tennessee. So,
But there just hasn't really been any one good Tennessee linebacker for IDP in the last couple of years because Jeffrey
Cunningham.
Simmons gets a lot of tackles. Harold Landry gets some tackles. Kevin Byard.
it's also been a lot of guys
Amani
that get
Hooker.
hurt a lot. Think about David Long, Zach Cunningham, Jayon Brown. I mean, there's just been going back 3 or 4 years since we started doing this podcast. It feels like every year we're in on another Titans linebacker and they just get hurt and they
Azeez gets
disappoint.
hurt. Azeez gets hurt all the
Yeah,
time too.
that is true. So we fall into the same trap. I like him as like a top 24 linebacker. I'm not calling for like an LB1 type
If I
of
can get him as
season.
an LB3, I'm in. But
Yeah.
any more than that, like
I'm with you.
and he just continues to rise.
He
Like
could be fool's gold.
he's everyone's favorite linebacker
Yeah.
right now. And
He does have a wide in this range. He has one of the biggest kind of variations of where his highest pick is and where his lowest pick is. So he's a guy. It looks like Jordan Brooks. He has he has a greater variation in where he's being drafted than Jordan Brooks does.
Wow.
So he's a player that I think some
Your
you know,
sharper league. I mean,
yeah.
your sharper leagues are going to be in on Aziz. They're
Yeah,
not,
that's
not gonna
probably the
slip.
difference. I think it's probably a good litmus test.
Yeah.
But a
But
lot
I
of
feel
good
like
buzz.
it's kind of cute at this point. Like, I feel like people are like wanting to be the first to Aziz.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, we're starting to see a lot of the content creators like wake up. And
That
make
is
their
true.
content now.
Bro,
so it's like,
we had
where
him
you
back
been,
in,
dog?
We were drafting him back in February
Yeah,
and March.
exactly.
We enjoyed him then. He was cheap then.
Oh
Yeah.
God, yeah,
Now it's like
LB60.
yeah.
And also, we got to talk about this Cam Curl stuff while we're here on this Aziz stuff.
Golly.
What are we doing?
People be loving some Cam Curl.
What are we simping over a DB for?
People hot in the pants for Cam Curl.
We don't do that, guys. We don't do that.
Let's see where Cam is going relative to. I don't think the drafters are really hot in the pants. He's DB 15.
That's still pretty high.
That's a lot.
That's pretty high.
I love him as a top 12, but I'm not gonna.
Are you drafting him? You gonna spend a?
I'd have to go look at the old Dynasty Planet to see if I've got him on any of these. He was a throw-in. I've got him on my XFFL squad. He just got thrown in like a salary dump last year. So that's the only share I know for sure I have of him.
I'll wait and just grab Derek Forrest and be plenty happy.
I do have Derek Forrest higher in my ranks.
Do you
I will
really?
say that. Yeah.
Ooh, that's kind of hot take.
That is spicy.
So I don't know. I like
you get killed.
Yeah.
You get killed for that.
I don't want to say that in these streets.
Kill him.
You want to host the show?
Oh
No,
Lord.
not really.
But listen to the guys that Cam Curl is going around here. So couple spots up. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Jonathan Grenard. Right after Cam Curl, Javon Holland, Alex Anzalone, Richie Grant, Nolan Smith, Odafe Owe. So, you know, he's got an overall ADP
fine.
of about 137. So that's
All those safeties are the same. All those
12th
safeties are the
pick-
same.
12th
Why
round
spend
pick.
up? You have to spend up to get him. You have to, and everyone's like taking him like in those best balls. He was going like in the 10th or 11th round.
And I said this.
No.
I said this the other day in our Slack, and you agreed. He's kind of chin-ish.
He is.
He's got that like Jeremy Chin, like kind of cool dynasty upside, but Chin just kind of never got there.
And it's like, what's he done that's been so special? Like the
Yeah.
dude, is he averaged over 13 a game yet? Like in a full season? I'm not sure. He might have, but I don't think he's been anything special. Like we'll dig more into this, but I've just been seeing him tossed around a lot lately, and some of it by our own folks, and you know, that's
Yeah.
fine. That's fine.
You're about to lose your street cred. He did go higher in Madness. He was about 26 spots higher by ADP in Madness
See?
than he was overall.
and that's
ADP.
with a lot of like analysts, but everyone's saying that's their favorite value.
What
If everyone's,
Then it can't be a value.
if everyone loves him as a value, he's not a value.
What round is that?
So 111,
Yeah.
like 111.
Okay.
That's like what?
10th round, 11th round.
Yeah, 10 rounds would be 120 picks. So it's somewhere in that beginning of the 10th round. That's
Yeah.
pretty rich.
No thanks. It's just like there's literally like 30 to 40 safeties that you can talk yourself into having top 12 upside. Like it doesn't have to be
Well-
like there's tons of these types.
And we have to keep in mind, we're talking in a best ball context where the DB pool is massive. I think
I'm
what
talking in any context.
Yeah,
I'm
even
talking in
Dynasty.
all contexts.
I'm with
I think what a lot of people like for Cam Curl in like managed leagues is that you have the tackle floor. You look at the tackle rate, and I think that was the case that Varnes was making on John's pod was if this guy stays healthy, if maybe Washington plays a few more snaps, this guy's going to get you 120 tackles. That's nice. I mean,
Yeah, maybe.
something to be said for that.
Maybe so. He would be a candidate for that. But the thing is, basically you can say every type of box safety in the league is a candidate for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
You heard it here first, folks. Cancel these two if you're a Cam Curl believer.
We were the ones with the Jeremy Chin, hate out there. We were one of the only people on the island with that. But the main point is just like we don't simp over the defensive backs ever, other than Derwin James or someone like that, someone that has been like a
That's
15 points per game
That's
producer consistently. I mean, otherwise like they all just run together.
DBs are people too, guys. They deserve love.
Not of this.
Not
of
this
this
much
show.
love.
No.
Let's go back to the Titans though and talk Arden Key. He has made his presence known. He's usually the first guy you hear coming out the door, and he's also been noticeable in practice coming off the edge. Is he on the verge of a breakout season, or is he exposing problems on the O-line? Probably the latter. With his effectiveness, Key looks like he's capable of giving the defense a big boost. 2023. Addy, I think you originally mentioned Arden Key as a guy to keep an eye on when we were doing like the free agency type of previews. And that was a low-key, sneaky signing by the Titans and a nice addition along this defensive line. I think they could get big boosts from both Al-Shaair and from Arden Key.
I love it.
Both over from San Francisco, right?
Yeah, I like it. Arden Key is a versatile piece. I think you can use him inside, use him outside. And then, yeah, I mean, that's a defense that needs another guy on there, you know, outside of Landry and Jeffrey Simmons. Danico Autry is solid, also a versatile guy and can do a lot of different things. That's kind of a theme with Tennessee. They have a lot of these guys that can line up all over the place. Even Jeffrey Simmons, bro, you can put him anywhere on that line. So yeah, I do like Arden Key. They from everything I've been seeing, he has been tearing it up, and I mean like having like sacks every single practice. So, I mean, maybe speaks to Tennessee's offensive line.
Their offensive line, I think, has been
universally
like 32nd on these O-line rankings.
It's very bad, but I think we can expect Arden Key to have the best season of his career,
and it
definitely his most opportunity of his career, right?
Yes.
That's what we're looking for.
Yes, edge 55, DL 72, going as 164 by ADP.
Mm-hmm. There's your argument for fading defensive line because
Yep.
you can get guys like that.
Yep. He's going right around Samson Ebukam, Anthony Walker. So, yeah, I love that value there. Grover Stewart, Chandler Jones, just some other names in that kind of range. But I like Arden Key of that bunch a lot, and you mentioned Jeffrey Simmons. I'm just going to read this quote from Jim Wyatt of TennesseeTitans.com. Jeffrey Simmons is still a beast. I could end this with a few names of guys who have flashed, but that would mean I did 10 things without mentioning one of the most dominant players in every practice, Jeffrey Simmons. Not a practice goes by when he isn't wreaking havoc up front. The big guy plays with great effort, and he's been a dominant force who has been nearly impossible to block. I mean, we were already excited about Jeffrey Simmons, but this gets me fired up. Good Lord.
Yeah, I love to see it. He's a monster, man. He's finally getting the respect he deserves, you know. Got that huge contract from Tennessee. I like seeing that. But yeah, I mean, he's just continued to get better every single year. Yeah, and that's a team that Tennessee defense is pretty solid.
Yeah.
You know, now that we've been talking about it, it's like, that's not bad.
It's not a bad defense.
Secondary solid.
They did something cool. They have their assistant head coach is going to be the head coach for the first preseason game. So Vrabel's like letting this guy actually be the head coach so that he could like get some tape as a head coach and maybe get an interview.
Cool.
Next round. So
yeah, and I was about to say they're well coached.
Yes, Vrabel. God, it's like I hate the Titans. I hate everything about them, but I respect the hell out of Mike Vrabel. That dude is a right up there with Mike Tomlin as far as like those are the coaches I would be taking if I was like starting a franchise with a and I could pick my head coach.
Offensively, they're going to be more troublesome this year than you're going to want them to be.
Yeah.
You know, Traylon Burks looks really good in camp. Now we've got DeAndre Hopkins, your boy Chig. I can't say his last name.
Chigakonkwo.
There you go. Sorry, I should be able to say that. But
yeah, you say Ogbania Okoronkwo. This rolls right off the tongue.
This is probably one of the last like run for it years for this whole group.
I think the
Derrick
Titans
Henry
are
on his
always
last legs.
they're always pesky. They're going to be in the mix with the Jags for that AFC South title.
But like y'all were saying with Arden Key against the bad offensive line, you know, there's a lot of bad offensive lines in the AFC South right now. The Colts are at a pretty good offensive line.
They're like middle of the road.
Jags are not great, I don't feel like. You know, the Texans don't really have that good of an offensive line. So
hey, a lot of young quarterbacks he gets to go against.
Yep.
And young quarterbacks get sacked a whole lot.
Yes, they do.
Look at Justin Fields last year.
Mm-hmm.
Even when they're mobile.
Or the year before.
Here's a good
Both
one.
years.
So I wrote
years,
I wrote about Arden Key. I pulled him out of Adams ranks. This was back in June of this year. Arden Key was around Khalil Mack in your dynasty ranks. Y'all want Arden Key or Khalil Mack more for this season?
Arden Key.
For this season, Khalil Mack. I think Khalil Mack's due for a bounce back.
Okay.
I like Khalil Mack.
I think depending on what you get from Landry, though, I think Arden Key could be this team's primary pass rusher. So that's what gives me hope.
You're just betting on
Landry's off pup, right?
I don't know. I'll have to check. I think he's practicing.
You're just betting on, can this guy get to 8 to 10 sacks? We've seen it time and time again from Khalil Mack.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that team as a whole was just banged up last year. No Joey Bosa. You know, we never got to really see those guys as the tandem that we wanted to see. So
Key last year had 4.5 sacks on about 475 snaps.
Yeah.
So that's decent.
Yeah, it's solid.
Because he was pretty clearly behind Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Landry is practicing.
Okay.
This was from 4 days ago.
Because I knew they brought Rashawn Gary off. I couldn't remember.
Yeah,
about,
that's big news.
Landry.
Rashawn Gary
Yeah, and
off a pup.
and practicing and
Yep.
looking solid.
Looking good. Let's talk about another player that has injury concerns, though, for the Indianapolis Colts. For the first time since camp opened, Shaquille Leonard participated in 11-on-11 drills with full pads on. This was the next step in his road to recovery and appears to be continue to inch one step closer to a return. I'm still not in on Shaq
Yeah,
Leonard.
sounds like a good time to sell.
I know. I just love the guy. Would love to have him back for the Colts, but just not planning on him being there the whole season. And if I'm wrong, that's great.
Yep.
But we've seen enough of it at this point that I'm not buying back in.
How much Shaq Leonard to this table?
0 in best ball. Like, I think I can say pretty definitively 0 because he was going as LB6 for most of the offseason.
Yeah, 0 over here as
His
well.
ADP corrected, but now it's starting to climb back up. It's gone like this and then dropped, and now it's starting to come back up.
Yeah.
People can't quit him.
That's right. Well, they're lured in by but what if he's healthy? It's that Arrested Development meme of it. Well, it's never worked for anyone else, but it could work for us.
We've seen his peak, though. His peak is come and gone.
Yep.
He's not that dude. Could he be a 150 tackle type guy? Yes, but is he going to get the big splash plays that makes him Darius Leonard?
I just
don't think so.
I don't want to make that bet. I don't want to take that gamble.
Yeah.
There are other gambles I'd rather take. Like I said, I don't want to be burned twice if Shaq Leonard gets hurt in submarines, the Colts, and my fantasy team.
The possibility of him getting 150 tackles is so slim. I mean, what is it? Like 50% chance that he plays
It's like 15,
enough
yeah.
games to even get to 150
What is
tackles?
that, 14, 15 games for Darius Leonard
Yeah.
probably?
No way.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I hope it happens. We as IDP managers,
Y'all are
as
paying
a
him a
Colts
lot of
fan,
money.
yeah, it's like you said, probably the reason we're not paying Jonathan Taylor right now is because
You got an out after this offseason? Is he?
I can double check, but I know he's there for this season. I think there's an out after this season though. But Bobo, why don't you take this next piece of news? This is a player I always associate with you.
Yeah, Jags camp. Let's travel down to Jacksonville. Trayvon Walker has his best day of camp. They say Walker is likely never going to be a player who shines in one-on-ones. So it's probably is time to put that narrative to bed. And while Walker had another so-so day in that regard on Sunday, there is no ignoring how impressive Walker was during team drills with last year's #1 overall pick in his best performance of training camp so far. I have heard through the grapevine that there's been a little bit of motion on that defensive line. That Josh Allen is pretty clearly, the defensive end there, but they're moving Trayvon Walker inside a little bit, and they're letting Devin Lloyd rush off of the edge at times. I think Trayvon Walker is enough of an animal to where you can do whatever you want to with him. You can leave him outside to let him rush from the edge. You can treat him a little junior Jeffrey Simmons and let him rush from the interior. Bring Devin Lloyd. You've got Foye behind that. Great linebacker there. I think a really, really good – I don't want to flag plant Trayvon Walker yet, but
Gotta
he's
start thinking
trending
about that.
towards that direction.
Yeah. So Shaq Leonard will definitely be getting cut after this season. His cap hit next year is $20.1 million, and his dead cap is $8 million.
Wow.
So bye-bye, Shaq.
He gone.
Yeah. Addie, what are your feelings on Trayvon Walker this season?
Yeah, I like Trayvon Walker. Like we mentioned, I think he's got a pretty solid tackle floor. I think you can pretty much expect like at least 50 tackles every year from Trayvon Walker, which is great. It's just what do the sacks go up to? Can he get to 7 this year? If he can get to 7, I think maybe where he's being drafted, it's probably worth it. But
Edge 23.
never mind.
That's
too
rich.
much. It's too rich.
I thought he was going to be in the
I'm
30s. Yeah. And for that reason, I'm out. Yeah, it's the name. I think the draft pedigree, the #1 overall pick, hype.
Everyone's hoping that he can get to this next level. There's too many guys around him that have been to that next level.
And it's also so fast. Just because it's year 2 doesn't mean he's a vet now.
Yeah.
He's a year 2
He's
NFL
22 now.
player.
Yeah, exactly. This is going to be year 3, year 4. I mean, this is who's going after him just along the defensive line. Dexter Lawrence, Montez Sweat, Azeez Ojulari, Bradley Chubb, Kwity Paye, Karlaftis, Cam Jordan, Sam Hubbard, Rashawn Gary, Trey Hendrickson.
Yes. All of them.
It's too rich. It's too rich right now with Trayvon.
Mm-hmm.
So
You just named 8 guys that have 10 sack seasons.
Yes, and it's okay to be optimistic about Trayvon, but then are you going to go get this guy? Probably not.
Yeah.
because he's just being overvalued by the market right now.
Yeah, it's fine to be optimistic, but you have to spend up, and it's not worth it at that point.
He's a really safe value in Dynasty right now. If you have him, I just hold on to him because people remember that he was the #1 overall draft pick in 2022.
Well, and he's going to, I mean, for the next 3 years, it's going to be, well, what can he get to?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's going to always be what you say when you talk about Trayvon Walker.
Athletic freak, #1 pick. What can he do? What can he do? This year.
I do think he will
Year
take
3.
Yep.
I think he will take a step this
4.
year. I think he'll take a step, but I do think that the Jags are going to look back over time and be like, yeah, we probably should have just grabbed Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. When Aiden Hutchinson's like Nick Bosa light,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
in the Defensive Player of the Year conversations.
Let me read this one because Addy just picked the guy up.
I was going to say, this may actually be a true DB value here.
Special teams coordinator Heath Farewell said that Andre Cisco came to his office this offseason and asked to be a punt returner. He embraced the role and has looked great, Farewell says. And normally when Jamal Agnew is healthy, that is the kick return guy. But Jamal Agnew is not healthy right now, so there may be some validity to this argument here for Cisco as a punt returner. Addy might know more than us.
Did you pick him up after this bit of news came out, Addy?
I didn't. After I did it, I was like, wow, that's great.
That's
Sweet.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I saw you liked what Jake put out there. I was like, I wonder what Addy...
Yeah, I didn't see that piece of news before I picked him up. But he was just someone that I
Yeah.
think was being slept on anyway. He's a guy that can make big plays. This is going to be year 3 for him. Right? Or was last year's?
Year 3. Now, I just did the short, so I remember this. We just had a short on YouTube about him. Urban Meyer famously forgot about Andre Cisco.
Yes.
They said, what do you think about Andre Cisco? And Suburban Meyer was like, who? So he forgot about Dre, but, the new coaching staff did not because he actually got to play along Rayshawn Jenkins. Now, Rayshawn Jenkins has that box role, so you're looking at Cisco more as a playmaker, but you add in kick or punt return duties, that is that's juicy.
And the way I play the safety position in Dynasty and in my leagues, like someone like Cisco is going to appeal to me, right?
Some little darts.
Right, some little darts. You never know. He has crazy upside. He like those 30 to 40 I mentioned, there's a world where he could be a top 12 safety.
He gave the world thong song, people.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Jeez.
That thong. Let's move to the AFC East and talk the Buffalo Bills. We mentioned Dorian Williams stock down.
Bust.
Yeah, from BuffaloRumblings.com. There hasn't been a player oscillated more than in the last 3 months than Dorian Williams, originally discussed as a will linebacker on draft night by general manager Brandon Beane. Dorian Williams was working at Mike and minicamp before then returning to primarily the weak side in training camp with now no clear path to defensive playing time absent a Matt Milano injury or another position change. The wisdom of drafting a backup linebacker and special teamer in the 3rd round will continue to be questioned.
I'm not sure I like that little blurb,
Yeah,
bro. That
Buffalo
seems like someone's got an
Rumblings.
agenda right there.
Let's chill out just a little bit, guys.
BuffaloRumblings.com.
Yeah, Buffalo Rumblings.
Let's go look at their ratio on
like
Twitter.
Buffalo tumblings down the respect rankings.
The
for
following
me.
10,000, they have 4,000 followers. They're bragging about having just crossed over 4,000 followers.
The ratio's not great. Let's just lump this in with the next piece of news, though. Gregory Rousseau, with a standout day. Rousseau wound up with a pair of would-be sacks, beating left tackle Deion Dawkins after a few seconds on one and zooming past right tackle Spencer Brown for an instant pressure and likely takedown on another. That is from The Athletic. Shout out Steve and Joe. I was on their show, Front Office Pros, this week. Check it out. Just went live on YouTube. And I believe it was one of the two guys, I think it was Joe, called Gregory Rousseau one of his breakouts.
Yeah.
So I said, I only worry about the snap count. What is that going to look like? And you said in another short we just put out, 70% in Buffalo is not the same as 70% elsewhere. So I would love to see it. I think Gregory Rousseau is talented enough to break out. I just worry the scheme and the opportunity is going to hold him back.
I do worry that defense isn't as good, though, anymore. And I think that maybe the 70% is good going forward. It just hasn't been good lately what they've had going on there. But, I mean, that defense started showing cracks at the end of last year. They were getting, people were putting points up all over them.
Yes.
So, and also Von Miller's going to be out for probably half the year, or at least not himself yet. Tremaine Edmonds is gone, who was a centerpiece of that. I mean, regardless of what you thought about him as a player, he was a centerpiece of that defense for 4 or 5 years.
Got paid a lot of money.
Right. So, I mean, that's gone, and then some of those guys are just getting older. Like Jordan Poyer's kind of past his prime. Like Micah Hyde, like, Jesus, how old is he?
Yeah.
Tre'Davious White is also getting up there. I mean, they haven't really brought in a lot of talent, like a lot of young talent lately. Other than these guys in the third round, right, that are just seem like major question marks.
And none of them have really come together yet.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We haven't
even
seen.
if Dorian Williams doesn't work out, like, are we getting excited about Terrell Bernard? Are we getting excited about Terrell Dodson, A.J. Klein?
Talked about it on the after show. I said, you said the answer is Matt Milano, and I said, ding, ding, ding.
Yes.
That's the right answer.
It's always been Matt Milano.
Yeah, this is smoke from Matt Milano. But even like I was listening to, I think it was around the NFL podcast. Shout out Joshy.
Yes.
And they were just talking about how the Bills are maybe like a season away from like Stephon Diggs is getting older. Gabe Davis is kind of not working out. Like,
This is their window.
Yeah.
And that window is sliding down, so you better take advantage.
Kind of old. I mean, you have some talent at certain, like James Cook is, I guess, a nice little young piece.
and then the NFL, Josh Allen is like, he's a really cool fantasy quarterback, but he fumbles and throws some interceptions in some pretty key times.
It's like Mahomes, they were able to pivot moving away from Tyreek Hill and
Yeah.
kind of revamping that offense on the fly because it's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And Josh Allen is not at that level. I think he's probably the third best quarterback. I think I'd put Joe Burrow second.
Are you saying
Just
in
on
As a
first.
passer, they're just no one on Mahomes' level as
No.
a passer.
I've
And
been
just with
watching-
his feel and touch
Yeah.
and just, you just can't
Have
touch
y'all
him.
been watching the
Quarterback show on
Good
Netflix
gosh.
I
is
haven't. I've heard
pretty
it's
cool.
really good.
It's actually it gives a good look at Kirk Cousins.
It makes me love Kirk Cousins.
Kirk
I've been
Cousins,
hearing
he
that.
is the star of the show.
Yeah.
Like,
Good look for Kirk.
absolutely
Yeah.
a great look for Kirk. He just seems like a dad, just like
Yeah.
a mid-30s dad.
Just intentional. Every minute of his day
Yes.
has some type of intention to it. If he's with his kids, if he's in the,
he takes off Tuesdays. I didn't
Yeah.
know this.
Love
But
that.
he does not do anything football-related on Tuesdays during the season.
Wow.
He is not in the buildings. He's not on the practice field. Nothing.
It's a great look behind behind the curtain.
Yes,
and
what
it's
these
like
players
deep
have to
for
go
Kirk
through.
Cousins. Like he's going to see like the team psychologist every like week and having a conversation with him about like adversity and how to handle tough situations. And then it shows him with his family, dude.
He's doing the thing on his like. He's training his brain essentially.
Oh Lord, I forget what they call that.
Yeah, it's a good look for Kirk. Mahomes' wife, I still think is.
I've heard it's better for her, too.
She
though,
does
right?
come out looking better,
Yeah.
but I think she's still like one glass of wine away from swinging at someone.
Yeah.
But aren't we all?
Mahomes' house is pretty sick. The one he built.
Oh, my God. I saw that. That's
golf
like,
hole.
That's the
Yes.
dream, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yep.
like he has the dream. He built the dream house.
Why not just build the full football field though? Why did we stop at the 50? I mean, Mahomes, come on,
Yeah.
do it.
I feel like most of them they just stop at the 50.
Yeah,
Like,
I think Dak has a house that's like that too.
Yeah, who has the full football field?
They just want to run the quick little slant route, have
Yeah.
Justin
They don't need the
Ross, running a post.
Why stop after one hole?
Hey,
get,
right?
get all 18 of them out there,
Right?
You got the Lambo. Hey, Matt Milano, LB16. Yum, yum, yum. Thank you very much, drafters. I love
yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think I have him as my LB6
Just-
in my redraft rankings.
I was
Forever a value.
I was
Yep.
thinking today about the linebackers who could be the overall LB1 as an article that I might write for the website. But
That's
Matt
stolen
Milano
tomorrow
crossed.
morning.
Yeah, probably. Sorry, I'll be up all night. Matt Milano crossed my mind real quickly. I just thought,
He's my LB. Like I said, I think he's my LB6.
Matt Milano is really
And he's
important
just
to
moved
that
up
defense
and
this
up
year.
and up, and the team loves him. They just extended him. Like
Yeah.
they love this guy.
Smart team.
Let's talk about the Patriots. Star pass rusher Matthew Judon has his busiest day of the summer as a full participant in team drills. There was no rust either, as Judon was a consistent presence in the backfield, recording 3 would-be sacks. Judon hinted there may still be more days on the conditioning field in his future, but he is ready to go. So can we get maybe a full season of consistent production from Matthew Judon and not just half a season?
I don't know. We shouldn't complain too much. Dude has been a baller for the last 2 seasons.
Him and Hassan Reddick together have been pretty awesome to roster.
Yeah, totally have outperformed everyone's expectations. Like, I mean, both those guys. Yeah, but Matthew Judon especially, just because I don't think like
Great
kind
season.
of came out of nowhere really after the Ravens. I mean, he was solid with the Ravens, but then to go to this,
Went to the next level with the Patriots,
yeah, to, like,
which you
double
wouldn't
up
think.
his sacks.
That's where IDPs go to die.
Great season. Let's see it again. All right. That was pretty good,
Yeah,
but do it one more
do
time.
it 2 more
Do
times.
it 3 times.
Do a flip on top of that. Do you think he's a top 12 edge rusher? That's the question you have to answer.
For the first 8 weeks, yes.
Yeah.
He's going as edge 12 right now.
He
DL 14.
He probably is, but I'm not gonna be.
It's a little rich.
I'm not gonna have a lot of Judon.
That's the only news from New England we have. But are y'all in on any of these other guys? Are y'all in on Uche? Are you in on Mapu? Are you in on Duggar?
Not really.
No.
Yeah.
Bentley, I kind of like Bentley
Yeah.
quite a bit. I like the deal they gave him, and that also, I mean, he's just a tackle guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a consistent little, could get you 10 tackles this week.
LB3.
And I like that. LB3, yeah.
A lot of
you
interesting
don't have to
pieces.
I mean, what's his? Look at his. I mean, I know it's going up now.
Who,
after his-
Duggar?
No, Bentley.
Bentley? Oh, yeah. Bentley's way down there.
After his deal, he's definitely on people's radars again, but still, he's still, I think, like a nice little value.
Here we go. This is a great question. Juwan Bentley is LB 52. Drew Tranquil is LB 53.
Give me Bentley.
I like both those
I
guys. I
think-
mean, give me both. I mean, that's a
He can't say no to Tranquil. That's,
Yeah, he
he's
loves it.
obligated. He's
He really wants
contractually
to-
obligated.
I think he wants the Tranquilizer
Is Drew here?
nickname. He's waiting outside.
you got a tranquilizer.
Just-
on my back.
Just put it right up to your neck. Yeah. Look, the Mapu episode banged on YouTube, y'all. We
course
cut
it
out
did.
that
We
little
looked
clip
fantastic.
from the after show and posted on YouTube. People are really into Mapu right now.
It's cool.
So-
name.
Sounds like he's doing well.
Yeah.
I agree with Tripp. The more I've thought about that, I think Duggar is not going to come off the field. I think Duggar is going to play the most snaps that he's ever played in a season, this upcoming season.
Let's see what the market thinks of Duggar.
I like Duggar.
Because there's been some
He's expensive,
There's
too.
been some people leave the
Safety
secondary.
10.
I'm saying
That is rich.
but I'm saying in Dynasty. I'm not necessarily saying like from a value in best
Duggar's
ball.
old as hell, man. He's
No,
probably
he
gone after
ain't.
this season.
No, he ain't. Duggar ain't that old.
He came into the league old, dude.
He came in the league in like 2020.
Let's see. Kyle Duggar age.
I'm going to bet he's like 26, 27.
He is 27 years old,
Bruh.
man.
Wow.
27?
That is surprising. For
He's been relevant for like 3 years.
This is his fourth year.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty old.
27.
But there's not as many. All the McCourties are gone.
That's what they were debating. Are they going to bring Kyle Duggar back after the season because his contract is expiring?
Probably not.
They brought back Peppers though. They brought in someone else too, didn't they?
Well, they brought in. That's what the question was: is Mapu going to be
yeah.
the safety replacement for Duggar since Duggar plays a lot in the box?
Yeah, Duggar probably is safe this year.
So,
But I'm not spinning up for safety
No.
10.
Especially with it being a Belichick-led IDP.
It's just a choice that you have to make. That do I want to spend up to get a defensive back?
Yeah.
That's all. That's
from
kind
the
of the same.
Patriots.
Yeah.
That's kind of the same as the next 20.
yeah. No,
I
thank you.
don't like him in best ball, but I think in Dynasty he could be a top 12 at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I think so.
Man, look at the guys he's going around: David Achabo, Ed Oliver, Preston Smith, Kaiser White, Carl Granderson.
He's a fine dynasty asset because
Yeah.
he has. I mean, he holds his value, and
He's a good player.
Yeah, he's a good
And
player.
New England pays DBs sometimes.
They could bring him back,
Yeah.
but it is a question they're going to have to answer.
Yeah.
Let's move to Miami. I know this is a defense that you
Adrian
really
Phillips
like.
is still there too, right?
That's right. But he was okay last year. I think he kind of took a step back.
Yeah.
So, defense, I know you like, Addy. Miami Dolphins. The feeling is emerging that safety Javon Holland will do serious damage in Vic Fangio's scheme, which will allow him to make plays near the line of scrimmage. And as a post safety, Holland will be used as a versatile chess piece. That's from Jeremy Fowler at ESPN. Stock up. This is from the Miami Herald. Dolphins defensive front. As mentioned before, the Dolphins defense has had the upper hand in the early portion of training camp, and much of that is due to Miami's defensive front. Lineman Christian Wilkins might be the top performer on the team. Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb have shown flashes of the bothersome edge rusher duo the team hopes to have for years. Ooh, I'm excited about this Miami defense.
Yeah, it's just what we've been saying and why we've been excited about it. I mean, this is a really, really good team. And when you bring in Vic Fangio, a guy that basically all these other defensive coordinators have tried to copy over the years, like it just means good things. I hate that Jalen Ramsey got hurt. That
I
really
know,
sucks.
that sucks.
But it sounds like they're already more optimistic about his return than they were.
He's off crutches.
Yeah.
He's walking around.
So, I mean, it could be like
Could be back sooner.
Yeah, maybe he misses half the season, which will be great.
Maybe Eli Apple's elite.
Eli Apple could be elite.
Cater Kohu's in there as well.
Sure.
Yeah,
So-
he's solid. I mean, that's That's
a good team.
Dude. That's a really good team.
It is a good team, and
David Long there now too. Jerome Baker.
It's interesting because Holland is not a guy I think about as like a box up near the line of scrimmage kind of guy, but
Playmaker.
It's playmaker,
right? Someone that
I think Fangio can kind of spot that.
Yep, exactly.
Let's wrap up here before we take a quick break with the New York Jets. Jermaine Johnson has earned the right to be in there and get more reps. He definitely wants to be on the field more. He's done a lot to change his body. He's done a lot of work. He's done a lot to work his way in, so he's earning everything that he's getting. That's from head coach Robert Saleh. And then from the Athletic, Zach Rosenblatt, he said, Will McDonald's debut, the Jets' first-round pick, lived up to his reputation right away as a long, twitchy edge rusher with a quick get-off. In the first quarter of the Hall of Fame game, he nearly sacked Browns quarterback Kellen Mond. Cleveland boldly left him unblocked, but he still got to the quarterback fast enough to force an incompletion. So just chalk it up to a better situation for the Jets, but kind of a frustrating situation for IDP because, they were talking up Carl Lawson on the last Big Nickel, so it's like, what do you do there?
Tons, yeah, just a really, really deep front, John Franklin Myers, Michael Clemens,
Bryce Huff,
Quinnen Williams. And then, these two guys who I really like both of them. I like Jermaine Johnson, but I love Will McDonald. I think he could be like a type that could potentially get you like 15 sacks in a season. Like I think he's that type of player. So, but where's the playing time going to come from? It's because this is a team that's kind of set up to compete. So, I feel like in order for Will McDonald to get on the field, like he's going to have to be immediately ready. And I don't think that he is. I think he's going to need a little bit of time to develop. Same thing with Jermaine Johnson. I like both these prospects, I like both these players. It's just there's a lot of pieces there. It's just
a tough nut to crack. That's
it's very
lot
tough.
Of very good players along that line.
I think it's going to clear up a lot more for us next offseason. So, I think these are great dynasty buys because, I'm pretty sure Carl Lawson's going to be gone. Bryce Huff was brought back on a tender for just a year, so he's going to be gone. Franklin Myers, he's fine, but he's like an interior guy anyway. Can do a bit of both. And then obviously Quinnen's not going anywhere. So I think,
it could be these two guys.
That looks really
as soon
sexy.
As next year.
That next year could be filthy. Like interior, you're one of the best interior defensive teams in the league, and then some unknown on the outside, but guys with massive upside. These guys are both huge, both good athletes.
Draft capital, first round picks.
Both of them, yeah, man. So
look awesome coming to training camp.
They sure do.
So
dripped up.
I said we were going to take a break. We got the whole AFC North left, so we're going to roll through the Ravens, Steelers, and
amazing secondary
Bengals.
For the Jets.
Yeah.
Just Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed.
This is why the AFC East might be the best division in football. That's a fun debate right now.
It's fun.
The Patriots are the worst team in there, and they were a playoff team last year, were they not? Or they were knocking
FC
on the door?
East are
Close.
the best?
Yeah. Think about Dolphins, Bills, Jets with Rodgers and this defense, and then Patriots bringing up the rear. Bill Belichick,
It's worth debating.
Yeah,
That's
Mac Jones
true.
has an actual offensive coordinator.
I think most people kind of just default to the AFC West for whatever reason.
No, I think AFC North was the other one I've heard getting a lot of buzz.
That one's really strong too.
Because you have the worst team is maybe the Browns or the Steelers. I think most people are in on the Ravens and Bengals as the top two teams.
And I think people expect Kenny Pickett to take a step this year. I kind of believe it too.
Let's talk about the AFC North. This is a fun division. Start with the Ravens. John Harbaugh on Odafe Oweh's noticeable difference in speed from last season. I think he is playing faster. Maybe it's his response time or maybe how he's processing things. He's having a stellar camp so far. And then Kyle Hamilton is killing it in training camp, throwing some good coverages out there, getting interceptions, giving Mark Andrews a lot of trouble. And the greatest thing is that he's getting major reps as safety instead of playing nickel again. This kid is set for greatness.
Where was that quote from?
That is Ravens Nation Live, baby. And the other one was the Baltimore Banner. So
we getting newspapers in now?
Okay. Are we
blogs?
We talked about Cam Curl. I'm more in on the Cam Curl train, but Odafe Oweh.
Are you though? You gonna spend up for Cam Curl?
I'd like it. I have him on my team, so I'm just like
XFL?
Yes, I'm all the top 3 buzz injected, baby, because
Listen, we're in on Dynasty, but I'm talking about that's what everyone's takes are about. It's about being in on him for this year.
I'm more in on him as a top 3 is Rich. I think he's a top 12 safety, but am I going to pay up? No, because we're never going to pay up for safety.
Right.
But we have to rank these guys. We have to say safeties that we think are going to have good seasons and project and all that. So in terms of his outlook, yeah, I like his outlook.
You want to marry him?
Yeah, it's like I'm not that horny for him, but the Odafe Owe, I know John's been pounding the table for giving Owe another chance, and I just think he's a roster clogger. I don't even want him on my team. I don't know. Are y'all in on Owe at all?
Not really.
He's going to have opportunity this year because they really don't have anybody there to pass rush. So maybe they let him not just play special teams, but actually rush the passer as well. I don't know. I don't have.
He's
Owe
going
anywhere.
as edge 46.
That's high.
That's
thanks.
crazy to me.
That's still high. Still
He's
way too
DL
high.
62, but edge 46. I mean,
In the
I
words
don't
of
know,
in
man.
the words of Adam, I can't remember when this was. A couple podcasts ago. Maybe we should have taken note to the fact that the guy didn't have any sacks in college.
Yeah, his senior year, 0 sacks. 0 sacks, and he played every game.
Yeah. We're like, but there's a chance.
Have you seen
He
him?
could get a sack in the NFL.
He just saved him for the NFL.
Yeah, that's right. He didn't want to.
You seen his vertical?
There's just other guys I like on the defensive line after
Yeah,
him.
whatever. Kyle Hamilton. Well, you were getting at something with him. You were starting to kind of
greatness.
correlate a little curl talk.
Greatness with Cam.
Yeah, this kid is.
Well,
set
no, I
for
was saying
greatness.
the Cam Curl hype is building, but the Odafe Owe is getting, I think, too much buzz.
Oh, yeah.
But Kyle Hamilton, all the buzz. That is the one guy. I think I said this on the Front Office Pros show. That is the one guy I will spend up for in like a redraft, best ball. That's the one safety I'll break my rule for.
Dude, not me.
I will.
And maybe in a dynasty setting, I could see myself. Probably not.
I think in any setting, I'm fine because I think you have the next Derwin James, and I think the next Derwin James is worth something.
Yeah, I mean, if he would be like one of the candidates for sure.
Are you a Hamilton or a Brisker guy?
Cam.
Are you?
Yeah.
Are you on Brisker at all?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I like him. I mean, I think he's a top 5 safety.
But
I rank him as a top 5 safety, but
You'd rather have K-Ham.
the ship is all those.
I'd
ships
rather
are
have
sailed.
Eddie Jackson
Yeah.
Yeah,
if
that's
I want
true.
a Bears
Yeah.
safety.
I'd rather have Marcus Williams.
But that doesn't correlate though. You don't like you like K-Ham and Brisker about the same, or K-Ham way better than Brisker?
K-Ham way better than Brisker.
Like a tier ahead, or like
a tier ahead, yeah.
Wow.
I think it's Derwin, tier 1, tear drop, and then I think K-Ham in that second tier.
See, I think like 2 through 6 or 7 is really close.
I think this is the year we're going to say Kyle Hamilton is, by the end of the season, he is rubbing elbows with Derwin James in that top safety tier. That's my hot take.
wow.
Maybe I'll flag plant it. We got to start thinking about our flag plants. It's coming up here sooner than we think, probably about a month. Let's talk about the Steelers. Cole Holcomb is one of the great X factors on this defense. He played 99% of snaps for Washington over the last 2 seasons when healthy after undergoing foot surgery, which slowed him during OTAs. He'll need to prove he's healthy and competent in coverage for the Steelers' highly compensated defense to reach its ceiling. I don't like that report that much. That worries me a little bit. Makes me like Landon Roberts a little bit more.
Hey, I was already in on Landon Roberts a little bit anyway.
Yeah. Atlanta Roberts is a nice little sneaky grab for this year.
Yes.
Um,
I took him in the madness. I was very happy to get him where I got him. I got him as my LB5. That was one of those drafts where I really didn't draft a ton of off-ball linebackers. I drafted a ton of those dual
Desi guys.
Yes. And I ended up really happy with the linebackers I came out with. But yeah, getting him as LB5, I think that dude's. I mean, 70% of the snaps, I mean, he's going to be flirting with 120 tackles. So, I mean, I think that's very realistic. And there's a chance with Cole Holcomb could miss. And if he does miss, I mean, you're talking about like league-winning type linebacker here.
Everyone is hot in the pants for Holcomb, LB 24. I don't.
Nope.
I'm just not. I like him as like a LB 3, but
Yeah, I'm not.
LB 2. No, he's not a guy that does it for me. There's a lot of people who really are in on Holcomb, and I think I will definitely pass at that ADP.
are you taking a Landon Roberts at all?
Let's see where Landon Roberts is going. He is LB 60, so yes, please.
I've got some Landon
much
Roberts.
rather
Yep.
have that value. Thank you
yum.
very much. So one more bit of news here because the Browns, we could not find any news. No one was popping, according to Arn. The Bengals were limiting Trey Hendrickson's work in camp even before he took 2 days off this week with a minor lower body injury. That came by design and meant a significant amount of action at defensive end for third-year edge Joseph Osai. Good things have been on display all camp as a constant force around the edge. That's from Paul Dehner Jr. at The Athletic. I just feel for Joseph Osai. I flash back to that playoff game with the late hit. I just feel so bad for the young man. So
Bring in Miles Murphy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's
tough. I mean,
Re-sign Trey.
Re-sign Trey. That was very surprising.
Yeah.
Re-signed Hubbard. So it's like, well, they're going to have a hard.
Logan Wilson too.
I'm sorry.
Come on back.
I was thinking of Logan Wilson. Yes, we're like, how are they going to pay? They're not going to be able to pay all these defensive guys paying Joe Burrow, and it's like, watch, bet, watch us pay all
T.
those
Higgins
guys.
and Jamar Chase still standing out there.
You hope it works out for him. If it doesn't, this is going to look very dumb.
Yes. You better have that Joe Burrow contract done.
Yeah.
And you're maybe working out some details. And you're like, all right, we got some money. Let's go get Hubbard. The Bengals do love homegrown talent. They love to re-sign their own guys. So
still,
it was a pretty fair deal, I'll say, for Logan Wilson. I was like, oh, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. I mean, we just saw Tremaine Edmonds get
72.
Yeah, I mean, Logan Wilson probably on the open market, I feel like could have done a little better than that. That may be a bad. That's a bad agent call right there, I think.
Yeah. Who's his agent?
Yeah, call your boy.
Call your boy.
I'd love to represent you, Logan.
He'd do a great job. He'd get you a
Sir.
Buc-ee's sponsorship first thing. It's like, we're not worried about the contract. I'm on the phone with Buc-ee's right now, Logan. We'll get to the contract.
Over the Bengal on the helmet.
That's like those stupid goblin caps or whatever it is that they wear on their helmets. Get them a big Buc-ee's branded one. That's probably the next thing, branding those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I feel like that's coming.
The NBA did a lot of that this year, didn't they? They had a bunch of the logo
all the
stuff
jerseys,
on their jerseys.
had ads on them.
It's got to be close in the NFL.
Yep.
Got to be.
Only a matter of time.
Yep.
All right, well, now we are going to take a break, and when we come back, we will hit on the...
Josh, you got to take a big old dump.
I just like, this will be like a nice, hour and 15-minute episode, and here we are at hour and 11, just wrapping up the AFC.
Sorry, guys.
But I will say, we thought, oh my God, a 2 hour 40-minute podcast with our return last week. It's already the second most listened to episode ever. So thank you all very much for checking us out. But we will be right back to talk NFC. Don't go anywhere. We'll see y'all in just a sec. All right, we're back, and we are talking NFC, kicking things off with the NFC West, the San Francisco 49ers. Shout out Joey the Tooth. I always think about him when we mention this next player, but one of the two players who has benefited the most from Nick Bosa's holdout is Drake Jackson. He has taken nearly every first-string snap at defensive end from OTAs until now. His camp highlight came Sunday when he was forced to trail tailback Elijah Mitchell, the team's fastest tailback, out of the backfield and ended up deflecting the 20-yard pass to Mitchell. Jackson is now stronger and heavier than he was a year ago, but the new weight hasn't hindered how he moves. It's a nice little sleeper there. I think Nick Bosa will be back by the time the season starts, but Drake Jackson is getting some well-deserved buzz.
Yeah, I mean, that defense was awesome last year, and they added Javon Hargrave to it. And then, you got Drake Jackson looking like he may be a second-year breakout. So, I mean, great things among that defense. I like Drake Jackson quite a bit.
Yeah, edge 49. That's a fine price.
That's fine. I haven't been able to get him much because, I'm usually in leagues with, you guys and Joey, and so, you guys are always,
taking him earlier.
Right.
Yeah.
But
he's not falling in those drafts.
Yeah. But, in those leagues, in the IDP Madness where it's there's some more casual people in it. I'm sure he was probably a great value in ours. I don't remember him being drafted very early.
He went later in Madness than he did.
Yeah.
Compared to his regular ADP.
So he's going to be a value for most leagues, I'd say, outside of your expert type leagues.
Yeah. Bobo?
Great value.
I know. I like it. Just because this San Francisco defense is really good.
So good. Good. I'm actually working on some defense special teams rankings right now. And San Fran was the number one defense last year from a points per game perspective, and they just added Javon Hargrave.
I don't think that changes. And Steve Wilkes there as the new defensive coordinator.
That's
fine. Yeah, it's not the most exciting choice, but he's stable. It's not a total unproven I think they know what they have in Steve Wilkes, and I think Wilkes knows what he has in this defense. So just don't screw it up, Steve.
Yeah, I think it's one of those deals. Like I like D'Amico Ryans. I wish him well, but it's one of those things. Like I think he was in a really good situation. The defense was really good.
Yes,
you know
what coordinators typically get hired on as head
Yeah.
coaches? The ones on the teams that are loaded with talent, whether
Yes.
it's offense or defense. It's
Yeah.
good to be the coordinator of a really good unit.
Yeah, and that San Fran unit is special at every level. I mean, Talanoa Hufanga at safety. You got Fred Warren Dre in the middle, and then that defensive line that we're going to be gushing about all season.
Did D'Amico Ryans follow Robert Saleh when Saleh left? There?
No, he stayed in San Francisco.
But that's what I'm saying. Like when Saleh left being DC to go be head coach for the Jets, is that the next year when D'Amico
Correct.
Ryans came in?
He went up.
Yeah.
He took
Okay.
his place.
So there was no there was
Right.
nobody else in between
Nope.
them.
It
I mean,
was-
that's a great
It was an easy-
situation.
it was a pretty easy gig.
DeForest Buckner
That's
was
a
pretty
great-
good when
it's
he
a
was a
great
49er.
pipeline to getting a head coaching job.
Yeah.
And it doesn't hurt that D'Amico Ryans is a Houston Texans legend. So
But, I mean, you do love that. I mean, obviously, D'Amico Ryans being around that San Francisco staff. I mean, they clearly do things the right way. Kyle Shanahan,
Yeah.
he has his faults and his weirdness, but that dude is one of the best coaches.
yeah.
in
D'Amico
football.
look at the results.
Yeah.
He seems like a great players coach too.
Yes.
Yeah.
The guy that you want to play for.
I don't
Yeah.
like him being in the AFC South because
Yeah.
I think he's going to be like a Mike Vrabel type. That's just like
Yeah.
his team is always competitive,
Looking-
always
He
plays
was a good
hard.
player too.
Looking back, that trade up for Will Anderson could be one of the ones. It's like, dang it, that was.
I know they
pretty
got
savvy.
the first that could potentially be like the
Yeah,
second
sure.
overall pick, but I think the Texans will be good enough that it'll be like, I don't know, the 10th,
Yeah,
11th
maybe.
pick. I don't think the Texans are going to be as bad
Bottom
as some of the they're not going to be like a bottom 3 team. I really don't think they are.
Mm-hmm.
So the team that I think will be picking first overall is the Arizona Cardinals. Isaiah Simmons seems more confident and comfortable at safety than he ever did at linebacker. At this point, it feels almost unfair to keep dogging former GM Steve Keim and the last Cardinals regime with how his length, speed, and athleticism have translated thus far to the deep center field position. It's hard not to notice. I think they've maybe finally figured out, Bobo, you're the Isaiah Simmons stan. You got the jersey. You like him more at safety than you do when he was playing linebacker?
I mean, that's a really bizarre question. I mean, in the NFL, do I like him more? Yes. For IDP,
Also, yes.
I do. Yes. I think overall this should be better for him. If you look back to him playing for Clemson back in the day, he played better from the safety position. Honestly, he's able to read the defense a little bit better. He's able to have more time, produce these big plays. Gosh, man, I love Isaiah Simmons. I really hope that this is a good move for them because Budda Baker is supposedly going to be there. You know, I don't think he's going anywhere. Jalen Thompson didn't play great last year.
That's what makes me think. I mean, Isaiah Simmons is probably playing like a nickel role, right? Because, I mean,
Or Buddha is.
Yeah.
Buddha's playing the slot or something.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't
He's
know.
done that. But yeah,
You bring Buddha down into the box, right? Because you've got Kaiser White and Owen Papo. If you got Zaven coming off the edge.
I've seen
I
Simmons.
don't know. You could have Simmons in the box too, though.
God,
He's
there's-
used to being a linebacker. I mean,
There's
I just-
a lot of question marks on this
There's
defense.
also been very little talk about the linebackers there. I haven't heard a whole lot out of. I've heard a little bit out of Kaiser White. I haven't heard a whole lot out of Owen Papo. And somebody else is going to have to play linebacker there for the
and Chris
Cardinals.
Barnes there.
Maybe, but yeah.
Who
whatever.
knows? I mean,
Maybe he's relevant.
yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting. I mean, what does the Zaven Collins experiment look like?
Yeah.
Was he supposed to be an edge rusher? We'll see. I mean, but then yeah, I mean, like so many question marks on that team. Like Cameron Thomas is a guy that I kind of like.
Yeah.
Myjai Sanders.
Majay Sanders, BJ
Cam Sample.
Ojolari. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's just a lot of just weird pieces that honestly probably aren't going to amount to much.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
It just feels like there's just
Bunch
not
of
a lot of
dimes
talent.
trying
And
to
then
add
you
up to
have
a dollar.
these 3 linebackers like Simmons, like Jalen Thompson, who racked up like 100, it's like 2 straight seasons of 100 tackles. It's just like, where are all these guys gonna play? You know, it's just a weird situation. I don't really like it much at all.
It's just a mess. There's
Yeah.
a lot of questions. New coach, new regime, old players coming in. I mean, guys being moved around. I mean, I don't know.
And even players like Budda Baker, like I love Budda Baker, but like clearly, like the time to sell Budda was like 2 years ago. Like he hasn't been the same Budda Baker, and like I don't expect that to really get better with what he's got around him. You know,
Do we see a window changing for Isaiah Simmons within the next year? Do we see an IDP,
I think that I think that you're going to have another buy window open up because I think he's probably going to be frustrating again, in my opinion. And then I think, but you're hoping for that next landing spot because he's gone.
But what do we see? Yeah. Do we see him go play like a Chauncey Gardner role? Do we see him, anchor a linebacking defense again?
Probably he'll go do. Yeah, he'll. I feel like someone's going to take a shot on him. Someone's going to feel
a good player, good leader.
Yeah, someone's going to feel like
7th overall pick.
He's just been miscast and misused, and I can.
He wants to get paid, so he's asked for a new contract. So that's something to keep in mind as well. He is practicing. He's not holding in. So I don't know.
I think
he's elsewhere next year.
I think he's a 2024 hold.
That defense is going to play a lot this year, though.
It'll be bad.
I don't think Kyler's going to start the season as optimistic as a lot of people are thinking.
That's true, man. Maybe he does do well. I mean, if he does end up getting if he ends up being like 100% snap guy, he could be awesome.
What I'm thinking is if he plays his safety role, it is the most similar role that he played when he was in Clemson, when he came out and was drafted 7th overall. I think that's more in line of what he was supposed to be than this linebacker. I don't know.
Is he going to be like a Jamal Adams? So they're going to let him rush the passer 200 times on the year?
Maybe.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool. I'd like that a lot.
Let him do a lot of. I mean, that's probably how he's supposed to be.
Who's their defensive coordinator now?
Well, it's the defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon from the Eagles. I don't remember who I think they brought someone over from the Eagles to be the actual DC, but
his old assistant.
It's Gannon.
Yeah, it'll be Gannon's defense. Well, Bobo, why don't you read the blurb there for your favorite team, the Los Angeles Rams? What they got going on?
3rd year linebacker Ernest Jones looks like he is taking another step from a leadership standpoint. Jones has got the green dot on his helmet and will be controlling traffic from his inside linebacker spot. His job will be important too with, again, all the youth on the roster and turnover at spots around him in the front 7. That is from Albert Breer at Sports Illustrated. So, I don't know. Y'all have heard me talk about Ernest Jones a bunch, but, what's y'all's take? What's your temperature?
I picked him as one of my breakouts on the Front Office Pros episode. Felt like a layup. I mean,
I love him.
I was just trying to hit an obvious one because that's not like an IDP-focused show, but, he's still a value in my opinion because he's LB20, y'all.
Yeah.
Wow. I've got him as top 12, maybe even top 10 in my redraft rankings. So
Ernest's going to play a lot in 2023.
It would be like an interesting experiment just to go around and see who has the most competition among, linebacker, on their team among linebackers, Ernest has to be one of one of the most wide open linebackers.
Name another linebacker. Is
Christian Roseboom?
Right. Your Reader's gone, right?
Yeah, Troy Reader's gone.
Get your Reader's gone.
He's somewhere else kind of relevant. Isn't he in Minnesota?
He's in Minnesota.
That's right.
It's nobody though, y'all.
But I mean it's he's got probably the most wide open depth chart at linebacker.
And they're not really set up to play a one linebacker type scheme like they did when Micah Kaiser was there and they played a lot of 1LB.
They're not set up to run any type of scheme.
That
team's terrible.
Yeah. They have the most rookies drafted and undrafted of any team. I think there was 30 rookies on their roster.
It's going to be a rough year.
That team's trying to get Caleb Williams. That team is McVay's what if we're just really bad for 1 year, then we get Caleb Williams.
Let's talk real quick.
Ship Stafford off.
John Johnson news.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm fine with that actually. I mean, I think that's probably pretty solid.
They need some veteran leadership.
He's going to play.
It's all rookies. It's Russ Yeast and
who was homeboy from Denver that was the DC when John Johnson was there? The old
it's Fangio, right?
No, it wasn't Fangio. He was the old Houston Texans coach.
Oh, Kubiak?
No, not Kubiak. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. Y'all are gonna have to. I'm gonna have to vet this.
Got it.
Absolutely not.
Oh my gosh, Phillips.
Wade Phillips.
There you go. That's who was the DC there. Sorry,
we really had to.
Was he the head coach for the Texans?
Well, I think he was a DC for
him. Maybe he was an important guy.
Well, he was the DC that when John Johnson was there is what you're saying.
That's exactly what I was
saying. Yeah.
That's the point you were trying to circle back to.
But Ernest Jones is awesome. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
he's all that team has. Him and Aaron Donald.
I'm totally fine. Are you all fine with him as your LB1, as your off-ball linebacker one? Because I am.
Yeah.
100%.
I think so. I think that's probably a pretty sneaky little move is like waiting to draft him as your LB1.
Just scoop up. That's what I said on that show. I was like, scoop up the DL value.
No, yeah, he's an LB2. No, he's going to be an LB1.
Absolutely an LB1.
I love that.
Just look at the depth chart.
Love the optimism.
He's going to get 1,000 snaps. He's going to get 150 tackles.
I mean, you saw him last year. What he got, like
Playmaker.
60% of the snaps, right around
66, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, he put up 100, almost 115 tackles. I think.
That
If I remember
stat that Macri had, he was one of 3 players, 3 linebackers to put up over 100 tackles, playing less than 70% of their team's snaps.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Me and
I'm thinking Kingleton was probably the other one.
Yes,
I
very
had to
efficient.
guess.
Me and Macri did a deal the other day that I can't even remember now what it was, but one of his counters he threw in earnest, and I was like, oh boy, he thinks he'll catch me sleeping.
Nah.
Macri up there
Yeah,
in the
if
great
Macri's going after your
Nah, fam.
he may be higher on Jones than I mean, I feel like I'm pretty optimistic
Yeah.
at like LB 9 or 10. But I think he may even have it higher than that.
Gosh, and I've been on Ernest for so long.
Hey, it's finally coming to fruition.
Stop calling him a breakout.
He is going
Boys
to break
broke out.
He didn't break out last year.
Yes,
he was
he
behind
did.
Bobby Wagner.
He had 120
He
tackles.
was 66% of snaps.
What do you have to do to break out?
God, stop! You have to be like vastly exceed expectations, and he didn't. He was exactly what we thought he was going to be last year.
No, he's not.
Yes, he was.
That's a one
second
linebacking
banana.
defensive scheme. That
A
all of a
second
sudden I
banana.
told people he's going to play more than 60% of the snaps.
Did you
and
start
everybody's
Ernest
like,
Jones
no.
1 week? Did you start Ernest Jones?
100%. Look at that
You're
trophy
such-
over there. It's
you're
got
such-
his name
you're
on
such
it.
a homer.
Ernest Simmons and Franklin at law.
You're such a
I'm
homer.
about to knock you.
Right, he went 0-17, but Ernest never left the lineup.
That's right. Going down with the damn ship like you're playing the violin on the Titanic.
playoffs.
Yeah. Oh, good Lord. Yes, Ernest is going to break out because he's going to be a top 12 linebacker, and he's still being drafted. Top 6, maybe, as LB20.
Move on.
Y'all kiss.
Move on.
Y'all
Absolutely
kiss.
not. Let's talk Seahawks. As we've mentioned, I think before we got on mic, or maybe it was on mic. I don't know. This is my pick for the Super Bowl out of the NFC, but one guy in particular
He's gonna
that's
say that every
worth
episode now
watching.
until
I'm going
the
to just
Super
double
Bowl.
down. I'm going to be. It's going to be my flag plant.
Worked last year for the Eagles.
That's right. You're welcome, Eagles.
Gosh, Cliff Avrill's name in here.
Yeah.
I had him in XFL for like way too expensive, and homeboy was just running a radio station and still on contract for me for years.
Was it
Glad I
major
finally got that money back.
back issue, right? I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Pour one out.
Sorry.
one out.
Boye Mafe.
Yeah, Boye Mafe looks ready to take a nice step in his second season. He is drawing comparisons to Cliff Averill. Came back stronger and more confident, which seemed more important Thursday with fourth-year pro Darrell Taylor showing up to practice in a sling. So, Mafe's a fine dart.
Also,
You know?
shout out Gerald Taylor though, like pretty solid.
Pretty
and
solid.
and he's been
Yep.
and he's really slept on. But I mean, that's a guy that I think he had like 8 to 9 sacks last year, but
they-
just forgotten about.
Yes, he is.
Did they cut him today?
Who?
Darrell Taylor?
No.
no chance.
Davion Taylor, I think, got cut today.
Did he really?
I'm
Did
pretty
he
sure.
really?
For
Wow.
the
I'll look that up.
Eagles?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
Well, they brought in, we'll talk about it when we get down there, but they brought in 2 guys. So,
We're hearing the hype about Christian Ellis.
yep.
So yeah, that would make sense.
That made me a little nervous about my Nicholas Morrow as my LB2 in Madness, bringing in freaking
Yep. Davion
Miles.
Taylor's being released per Eagles.
Wow. Okay, so the Davion Taylor. That was
As a former third rounder, I think
think-
we were all kind of like,
who was the guy, Mike Clay, that does the projections for ESPN, had him as the LB1. So just
Yeah.
don't.
yeah, the guy that had Andrew Van Winkle as like the getting
Van-
like 500 snaps
called
over
him
Jalen
Winkle.
They
Phillips.
call him Winkle.
Same difference.
It is Rip
I
Van
kind of like
Winkle.
that better.
AVG.
Yeah.
Average.
Average.
AVW.
That's what them initials stand for, boys. So let's talk about the NFC South. The Falcons restocked their defensive depth chart via free agency. Did they ever? New defensive coordinator, biggest beneficiary could be a player who was already in the fold. Troy Anderson, taken 58th in the 2022 draft, earned the starting middle linebacker job late in his rookie year and should flourish in Ryan Nielsen's pressure-heavy system. The 245-pounder is one of the NFL's best athletes at inside linebacker. He might be the best athlete. I mean, how many 10 RAS guys are out there playing linebacker? He ran a 4.42 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine and has alarming interior quickness when he gets a free run. He will have more of those this year. That's from Josh Kendall at The Athletic.
Yeah. I think Troy Anderson, you could probably label that as one of my guys. I love that dude.
You want to flag plant that guy?
I think so. I mean, that he would definitely be someone that I would be thinking about. I think we could easily see 150, 160 tackles this year.
LB 30.
I thought you
right
did
now.
you did a good job on the. Was he one of your breakouts, Troy Anderson?
For that episode? No.
Yeah.
I
You were
just had-
talking about Atlanta though. They've and on the money, like historically, that's been a great place for
yeah.
linebacker production. You know, we saw 150 tackles out of Sean Evans. We remember the days of Foye, Deion Jones. Like whoever ends up being that LB1 there has a chance to be very productive. And Troy Anderson's one of these types that I think can just gobble up some tackles.
I think he's going to be all over the field.
Yeah, I do
4.4,
too. I do too.
40 speed.
I do too. And we're seeing him getting, dusted up by Bijan and stuff.
That's Bijan Robinson, though.
But that's Bijan Robinson. That's going to be like that's immediately already one of the best pass catching running backs in the league. And he's double moving him and triple moving him up. I mean, no one can stay. No one can.
What are you
hang
supposed
with,
to do?
You can't hang with guys like that.
I probably could.
Yeah,
Bobby could. Bobby
could in his
definitely could.
Like I said, LB 30. I mean, that may be the best linebacker value in IDP right
What's
now.
Caden Ellis at?
He's not too far down from him. He
I like
is
both.
LB
Yeah.
37.
I think you could look up, and both those guys are really, really relevant in IDP.
I don't think that it's a bad idea to maybe handcuff both those guys.
like that.
Draft them both. And if
like
they're both
that.
in the LB 30 range, who cares?
He did go a little bit earlier in Madness. Troy Anderson did, whereas let's see what Caden Ellis did. He went a little bit earlier in Madness as well. So both these guys getting a little bit of shine.
Does D'Angelo Malone have any play this year?
No,
Probably not.
The only reason I say that is that from what I understand about people who know defensive schemes and what types of players that defensive coordinators like to have, that the edge rushers they have are the wrong body type for the Ryan Nielsen defense. That's from I think one of the Falcons beat writers. So I'm not optimistic for any of those edge rushers.
Arnold Ebiketie as well.
Yeah, I think that
Wow.
Ebiketie, D'Angelo Malone, just not the right body type.
It's a weird mix of people. They did bring in David Onyemata. Really, I mean, interior wise, it's pretty damn good.
Grady
Jarrett, and
Onyemata.
But then, I mean, what does Arnold Ebiketie look like? Secondary wise, I mean, it's really good. I think. I mean, you got Jesse Bates, great pickup this offseason.
Yeah.
AJ Terrell, I think
Richie
will have
Grant.
a better, third year. So yeah, I mean, you like what they've done. They've definitely improved, but but yeah, they still are not really elite at rushing the passer.
No, I don't want any of the edge rushers. Give me the linebackers.
Definitely.
That's the position group I'm targeting.
And I'll take Richie Grant too.
Yes.
if
And
he
Jesse
falls
Bates.
outside the top 20. Same as
I think Jesse Bates could have a nice little bump in his career. He's kind of been down the last year or two. I think that turns around.
Yeah, he is safety 22. Jesse Bates is. Let's look at Richie Grant. I think he's going higher than Jesse Bates. That is surprising. I would not think Richie Grant would be higher than Jesse Bates, but he's safety 14, DB 17 overall.
Okay, well, we won't have any Richie Grant.
Yeah, Richie Grant, you are
I'm not
out of
sure
the building.
I don't know if I'll have Jesse Bates
Yes,
at
I
22.
won't either. Me neither.
That's really high.
I mean, because he's going to be up and down every week just because
Yeah.
of the role he plays anyway.
He was safety 22, DB 26.
But yeah, I would much rather have like a Ryan Neal, Honey Badger, or someone in that range over Jesse Bay, a free safety.
Ryan Neal, safety 27, DB 33. And then Honey Badgers right after that, safety 28, DB 34.
Unreal.
Somebody's locked in right now.
Unreal.
Let's talk about the Carolina Panthers. Linebacker Deion Jones is settling in well. The Pro Bowler. Let's stop with the Pro Bowler talk for these guys that have bounced around to like 8 teams in the past 4 years. The Pro Bowler is starting to impact the defensive rotation, and according to those in attendance, had a productive session on Sunday. He was spotted generating pressure in obvious pass rushing situations, which was pleasing. The former second-round selection also drew praise from head coach Frank Reich following practice, who stated that it looks like he's been around for the entirety of training camp rather than just a week or so. That is from Dean Jones at
His dad.
catcrave.com.
Deion's father.
That is Deion's father. It very well might be.
Cat Crave.
I've got to look up Deion Jones'
Buffalo
father
Rumblings
now.
and
Yeah.
Cat Crave.
I mean,
Crave.
Dean Jones, Deion Jones. I mean, I don't know.
Deion Jones' father, Cal Jones.
Oh,
It's Cal Jones.
Damn.
That would have been
Hey,
sick, though,
that
if we
was
had
so good.
uncovered
first
that.
name's Cal, his middle name's Dean.
Yeah,
All these quotes are just from their dads.
exactly.
We're like, Aaron, where'd you get these?
Yeah, it's just on the dad blogs. He
all
got
right.
into the dad blog
It's
network.
Aaron. It's Aaron when he messes up like
That's
that.
right.
The Deion Jones news. Hit the fart over there. We got the fart.
I think we have the fart. Let's see. Yeah, here
Yeah, I don't know. Are y'all making anything of this?
Nah.
Deion Jones couldn't even
Keep him
like,
on the
lock
radar.
down the Browns linebacking core
Shaq
last year.
Thompson might get hurt. Frankie Louvu might
Right.
get hurt.
Multiple injuries.
Yeah, other than that, no.
I thought about the guy when we potted last time. I forgot about Jermaine Carter. Is that the guy's name?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he doesn't even play over Jermaine Carter.
Yeah. Jermaine
Can't
Carter.
believe we got
Anyways.
him in on
Yeah,
this pod.
Catcrave.com.
Yeah. Catcrave.com. Let's talk about the
Good job, Dean.
Saints. With Caden Ellis gone, Pete Werner is getting his health under control is more important than ever. He'll be a key piece in the defense with almost no proven. I like that getting his health under control, like
Yeah.
it's a dog that's
out
barking
of
at the
control.
park. Get it under. Come
To
on,
run
health.
away.
Stop doing this to me.
It's been a nuisance, that health. Boy.
Good God. He'll be a key piece in the defense with almost no proven linebacker depth on the team after him and Demario Davis. He's made good strides in his career to this point, but he will need to continue to make them as Demario Davis missed a second New Orleans Saints training camp practice with a calf injury. So, yeah, I mean, Pete Werner, Demario Davis.
That's worrisome for Davis, the 34-year-old going into the season with a calf injury.
Yeah, don't like that.
Yeah.
Cam Jordan just got an extension, so congratulations to Cam Jordan.
Was that one weird to y'all or just me?
No, I mean, Cam Jordan is that's like the.
How old is Cam?
He's the epitome of grown ass man.
Yes.
Like that dude is so good. And looking at like looking just back at his stats from his career, wow, he is so slept on. He's been so good since he came into the league.
Mm-hmm.
Like every single year, it's like at least 8 sacks. But I mean, he maxed out at like 15 in a year.
I guess you just continue to see. It's not like, I don't know. I think about him in terms of fantasy, where it's like, wow, if the Saints were a fantasy team, they need to be selling everything they have right now.
Oh, yeah,
but
definitely.
I do forget that like these are franchises and they just want to put butts in seats and they want to run it back again next year with Derek Carr and Alvin Kamara and Mike Thomas.
Well, and the Saints have gotten to a point where they've waited too long.
Yeah.
Because I mean, at this point, like, what can you get for Cam Jordan?
Yeah.
A fourth.
He's
Yeah,
worth more
third.
to you than he is to any
Right.
other team.
Or
He's-
Demario Davis.
He's been a staple of that franchise
Leader.
for the past decade.
Yep. They love this guy.
just let him retire and be done with it.
Same
Yep.
with like Drew Brees. Like he's
I will say the Saints linebackers, I like Demario Davis at LB 40. That's a nice value. I'm just not in on Pete Werner at LB 23.
Yeah.
That seems high.
Yeah.
I'd much rather take Troy Anderson at LB 30.
LB 40 though for Davis with a calf injury doesn't sound great either though.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if he was,
It's early. It's early.
yeah, if he was a,
But didn't he kind of regress a little bit towards the end of last
was
season?
a
Everyone,
great
yeah,
last season.
he's not. The tackle rate's not great, but I mean the sacks are still there.
Yep.
I mean he
Yeah.
still has those big weeks. I think he still had at least 5 sacks.
great best ball target because you're going to
Yeah.
get some spike weeks from him. So
Would you rather have Demario Davis or Jerome Baker in best ball?
That's
Demario
tough.
Davis.
That's tough.
Demario Davis.
Those guys are both very similar. Both rush the passer a lot. I'd probably go Demario Davis though. We've seen like
pretty close. Jerome Baker, LB 46.
I did enjoy the trip in Macri talk with Jerome Baker. They had me almost back on
Yeah.
board, but it's been a couple maddening years for Jerome Baker where we just keep kind of expecting it to happen.
I'll just trust the guy that's done it.
yeah.
I'd rather, if I'm choosing between those two, I'll take the certainty.
I could see Jerome Baker though being pretty good this year. He is someone that I think is kind of disrespected a little bit. He's been solid. He really has been. I mean, if you, no one's
He's not an
expecting
LB1.
no one. You never had to draft him as that. You
Yeah.
never had to draft that dude like earlier than like LB 30, and he's always basically performed as like an LB 30 to
Yeah.
LB 40. You know, he's in that range always. And then this year, it does feel like he does have a decent chance of maybe outperforming that with Fangio in town.
Jerome,
I think he will be better than he's been.
Jerome
Yeah.
Baker or Shaq Thompson this year.
I think I'll go with Jerome Baker, especially with them
That's
bringing
close.
in Deion Jones and stuff, and like
that's close.
Frankie Louvu is there. Shaq Thompson was a little bit of a letdown last year.
Mhm.
I'll go with.
He's not near as big play either.
Yeah, I feel like I'll go with
The upside.
upside in Baker.
Shaq Thompson is getting,
He's like 30 now, isn't he?
he's getting older and he's getting faded. I mean, he is going as LB 42, whereas Jerome Baker's
Hey,
LB
brother.
46.
Ain't we all getting older and getting faded, brother?
Getting older and
Yeah.
faded.
Shaq Thompson's
sir.
29.
Every night. Let's talk about the next team
Every
on the
night.
list, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. As well as Winfield blitzes out of the slot, Ryan Neal has also shown a knack for getting to the quarterback. Bowles uses Neal as a blitzer at some interesting times. We can't reveal the specifics. And thank you, Scott Reynolds from Pewter Report. And
Thanks, Uncle Scott.
whether it's a run or a pass, the Seattle import is very effective in blowing the play up in the backfield. Neal and Winfield have been joined at the hip since the offseason. They go to Hardee's together every Monday and get breakfast biscuits. No, sorry. And their communication and chemistry is right where it needs to be. I just picture people that are attached at the hip going to get Hardee's breakfast.
Have you ever been to Hardee's for oh yeah, Hardee's. I was thinking Crystal.
Yeah, no.
If you've been to Crystal for breakfast, you
Does
have
Crystal or
other
White
issues.
House have a breakfast?
White Castle?
Adam's got to know.
White Castle.
What did I say?
White House.
The White House does eat breakfast.
I'd imagine they're feeding Biden up there.
If he's awake before noon, they can get old Sleepy Joe
I
awake.
feel like he really values breakfast.
but he's big.
Most important meal of the day.
Donald Trump's just having McDonald's for breakfast at the White House. He's just doubling up. How do we go down this rabbit hole?
But yeah, White Castle does serve breakfast.
Do they really?
I've never tried it. I've never wanted to start my morning off that way. But yes,
Just immediately go to the toilet whenever
got
you
it.
get the White Castle breakfast.
Are you bummed with the Bojangles shutdown?
Yeah, I was a Bojangles fan.
I know you were.
there's too much competition.
But with your whole gluten thing, you
Yeah,
haven't been there in a while.
yeah.
They-
I can't have it as
They
much.
can't cut it in Chicken City.
Chicken City was too.
It's tough out here.
It's tough in these
It's tough.
streets.
Don't
be
we got
surprised.
3 Chick-fil-A's, people.
Don't be surprised if Neal goes down as one of Jason Light's best free agent acquisitions. He's off to a hot start as a playmaker. Ryan Neal, everyone, go get this guy.
I love that secondary.
Do you have him in XFFL?
I've got him in a lot of places, yes. But I mean, and not just safety. I mean, the cornerback room, great. I mean, Jamel Dean, he's very underrated. And Carlton Davis, also just one of the most underrated corners in the league. So, very weird team. I mean, what's that team is, you just lost Tom Brady.
And you got Baker Mayfield.
You got Baker Mayfield. So, that defense is still solid, though. I mean, up front is kind of questionable, and we'll see what Kalijah Cansey and Logan Hall are. But, I mean, you still have some really nice pieces, like some nice win-now pieces on that team. So,
What if they're okay?
I kind of have been coming around to that. I mean, they could be okay.
Yeah.
That division's not that tough. I mean, it's the Saints, Falcons, Panthers.
I just don't see it. I just think they have a big old dumpster fire at quarterback, and I think that's going to sink them.
See,
It's Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask.
Baker kind of was okay in L.A.
No, he was not.
Yes, he was.
No, he was not.
Yes, he was.
He was not good.
Him and McVay were right on the same way.
He had one good game, and then he was trash the rest of the season.
I think this could be sneaky.
He has 7 INTs
That's
already
a bad
in training
division.
camp.
That's a bad division.
About to see a boat fight part 2. Someone's going to get a chair.
I was going to say, don't make me pull this office chair upside your head. Baker Mayfield is not good. He's on like his 5th team.
Bro, I bet that hurts so bad. At least it wasn't a
Absolutely.
metal chair. It looked like it was plastic.
It was tough.
That was a tough
Then
one.
got immediately arrested.
Oh, just a wild weekend for content, folks.
Goodness gracious.
Good weekend to be online. Let's talk about the NFC East. Kayvon Thibodeau and the Giants' defensive line continue to dominate. The Giants are expecting big things out of second-year pass rusher Kayvon Thibodeau. He has looked stellar throughout training camp, battling left tackle Andrew Thomas. He did get tossed on his ass today on Twitter during one-on-ones and routinely getting after the quarterback in team drills. His fellow edge rusher Azeez Ojulari and defensive tackles Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams are primed to form one of the best defensive lines in the NFL this season. That is from Empire Sports Media. So you know it's true.
Mr. Rivardo.
Yeah, I had to bump him down. Had to put Will Anderson above him.
Did you after the video?
I did, but I think I might.
You thought about it.
I
You
think I
thought
might.
about it.
I think I might. It's not a great look for Kayvon.
Andrew Thomas is maybe the best left tackle
He's
in
good.
football.
He's
though.
good. That's a great situation. Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah,
Right?
sir.
You love to see it. He's going to be fine. Kayvon's going to ball this year. That's another team that when I was doing those defense special teams rankings, I mean, hard not to put them in the top 10
It's
this
a good
year.
team.
You looking up the ADP?
Yeah, I can.
I kind of want to know where Kayvon and where Azeez is at right now.
So
also.
Kayvon's high. He's edge 9.
Yeah.
That is rich.
Yeah.
but
a little sexy. A little too sexy.
A little too sexy. And then Azeez Ojulari is going as edge 25, DL 36.
Yeah.
He's ADP of about 63. So what is that, like early 6th round pick?
Yeah, I like that. I like that for Azeez.
That's a little secret, a little dirty secret in IDP right now. We do love the Jalen Phillips. We do love the Kayvons. We do love the Aidens. But, boy, those price tags are a little
They're getting a little
hefty.
rich.
little sexy, a little too cute.
You're paying sticker price.
Yeah.
There's no discount.
These guys have to break
They have
out.
to hit.
Oh, yeah.
They
Yeah.
have to break out.
And we think they
Or they're
will.
ruining
We
your-
do.
Yeah, They're ruining your league if they or
Exactly.
Your league. They might ruin your league.
Ruin your whole damn league.
You're gonna ruin your life.
Your marriage is in shambles. Your kids hate you. All because Jalen Phillips didn't get double-digit sacks.
Now,
Why, Daddy? Why?
Jalen, I'm okay with being up there. I don't know. Jalen feels a little bit more confident. Kayvon is, you're right. He's getting a little up there.
Yeah.
What are you typing on over there?
Just moving and shaking. Y'all know how it is. We just locked in a sponsorship with Reality Sports Online, so we're running it back with those guys this season. So make
Great
sure
platform.
you're using code IDP Show if you want to check it out. You'll get 10% off your site fee.
What's your best contract in XFL right now?
Oh man, I've got some sneaky little fun ones. I think I've got. I've kind of been on Isaiah Hodgins a little bit.
Okay.
I've got him on like a 4-year minimum deal.
Nice.
That was a nice little sneaky deal.
Yeah, sneak.
Little sneak.
Yeah. Let me pull up the team though.
Joshy, what do you like right now?
I have no idea.
Oh, Josh.
We
come
do
on
our
now.
auction in like May, and then it just kind of goes into a black hole. My memory.
Oh my goodness.
But I can pull up the squad.
Yeah, please do.
I had the most money going into the auction, so.
Sure he did.
How did you boys like your madness end of the draft DB selections?
Oh, it was pretty
Mine
solid.
I felt pretty good about
It was
mine.
good, but I mean, there were some other people in there that were doing the same stuff,
Yeah.
and it made us like. They definitely had my ranks, and they were just
You're getting riddled with bullets.
getting. Oh my god! Like it was very obvious. So I mean, that was frustrating, but I mean, overall, I mean, I still think I'll pull that up too.
I wasn't thrilled with it, but it ended up okay. Xavier McKinney was the first guy I got in like round 17, so that was nice.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
But I'll pull up the team here as well. I had the most money going into the auction, so I did have a lot of guys I had to pay. Of course, landed Anthony Richardson in the rookie draft. I wanted to look at some of the defensive guys. I do have Asamoah on his rookie deal, so he's only $1 million this year. Divine Diablo's $983,000.
Nice.
Bobby Okereke's 3.9. Devin White's on the franchise tag, so he's 10.2. So my linebackers I like a lot, and like I said, Cam Curl was just salary dumped to me at $706,000. So that's not bad.
It can't be a rookie deal. It's cheating.
Yep.
Oh well.
Tis.
That's mainly a lot of the guys that I have. I will say I got Javon Hargrave 1 year, $6 million. I like that quite a bit.
That's really good. Yeah.
And I've got Jalen Carter as my other defensive tackle. So
Okay, let's see another one I really like. I got a good deal on Dexter Lawrence. I got him for 4 years, $2 million per.
ooh, that's beautiful.
I got C.J. Gardner-Johnson locked up for 4 years for like $2 million per. That's a good one. Fred Warner's on I think I got 2 or 3 more years left of him, and he's like $4 million. Yeah, guys like that, you know. Kirk Cousins, I have him for like the minimum on like I got him for another 3 years, which he's just been great.
Yeah, he's so cheap.
He's so cheap, so underrated. Just always finishes like top 15. Has monster weeks. Has a great receiving room around him.
Just watch quarterback. I think you'll like Kirk Cousins a lot more.
You need to watch it.
Let me look up so here was the end of the madness draft. It went Xavier McKinney, Jordan Fuller, Sidney Brown, Julian Blackman, Marcus Epps, Adrian Amos, Marcus May, Adoree Jackson.
Perfect.
I
So
like that.
that's
Yeah.
okay. I
that.
like a lot of those
the
guys.
usual suspects.
Yep.
So, all right. So my final 8, same thing. Didn't attack it until round 17.
Yep. Round 1706 was Xavier McKinney for me.
17-10 for me. Justin Reed, then Kyler Gordon, Andre Sisco, Trent McDuffie, Cam Taylor-Britt, Quandre Diggs, Rasul Douglas, Carlton Davis.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Love it.
So pretty.
Take it.
Love that.
Yep. You don't overdraft these guys.
Nope.
Hope everyone, the Cam Curl stuff works out for you this year. Everybody that's planting the flags and, getting hard off the value. But
What are you going to do if Cam Curl is like a legit IDP MVP this year? You might have to hang it up.
I did look to see his
points per game.
He's never averaged more than like 11.5 per game. Last year it was like 10 points per game.
There you go.
So I don't know.
Pretty solid
I
bet.
don't know what we're doing, folks.
It's that time of season. It's that time of year, Eddie. It's hype season. Let's talk about the Commanders. Talking about hype. It's a season of hope for the Washington Commanders with the new ownership in town. Magic Johnson's in the building. Did y'all see that before and after picture of training camp with
Haven't
them?
seen it.
It was
Oh, yeah. Last year.
legitimately no one. Like there was 3 people in lawn chairs, and then this year it was actually like a full crowd. We tried to get up to Colts camp. We were going to go this weekend. Tickets were sold out.
Wow.
You couldn't get them. They're free, but you have to actually have a ticket to go in.
Anthony Richardson hype.
God,
Everybody's hyped.
he apparently had a great weekend.
Yeah.
So some Alec Pierce touchdowns got me excited. Let's go back to the Commandos, though, and talk about linebacker Cody Barton, who could be Cody Starton if Jamin Davis ends up in the slammer. As I almost did if Jamin was slamming in the slammer and didn't go there. Could have, though. Would have nailed it. The free agent signee enters his 5th NFL season in 2023 and looks right at home for the Commandos. Barton stood out last week. He has good size and speed, but his football instincts are terrific. He's a physical player, already drawing his new teammates' praise. It's early, but it looks like Washington may have nailed this free agent signing. That is from commanderswire.usatoday.com.
People were sleeping on Cody Barton way too much. I mean, Jamin Davis has been okay in the opportunity he's gotten, but I mean, I think he's left a lot to be desired. And Cody Barton was actually kind of solid last year. I mean, he was fine. So that wasn't a difficult room to, I don't know the word I'm looking for, rise to the top, I guess.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, he great value all off season. Still probably like LB 40 range. I'd say
LB 49. Of
That's
all
easy
those
money right there.
Of all those LB2 options, he's probably one of the sexiest, I would say. Like Big Bob
Yeah.
Spillane, a Landon
like
Roberts.
depth chart LB2.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Depth chart LB2s.
But I mean LB 49. I
Yep.
mean that's stupid. That's like a LB 5.
Yep.
On your fantasy rosters. I mean, yeah, I think that guy is like easily gonna finish inside the top 36.
This is where you're starting to see a lot of those LB2 goes. He goes in the range of Jermaine Pratt. He goes in the range of Denzel Perryman, Juwan Bentley, Drew
love those
Tranquil,
guys.
Nicholas
God.
Morrow.
Gosh, what a good list.
That's
of
a nice little
guys
group right there, right?
It's a great list.
So, Cody Barton. Bobo?
If I could have Cody Barton, Jermaine Pratt, Denzel Perryman on every team, boy.
Just be eating, boy.
Hog heaven, Bo.
Don't even need no starting linebackers. Give me the LB2s on the team. Cody Barton's fine. I just don't think he's a good player. So I have reservations about. But if Jamin Davis, this Jamin Davis situation, y'all, is worrisome. The judge has rejected 2 plea deals. This judge wants Jamin Davis in jail, boys.
Yeah. Wow.
So
Not good.
not a good sitch. It is.
They can bring somebody in.
Yeah, they probably will.
Even if they do, I think Cody Barton could be your LB1.
He was
Week
great
1
last
starter.
year too. I mean, don't forget, the guy was awesome last year when like you knew he was starting.
I thought today too, Rashawn Evans still doesn't have a job.
Yep.
It's bizarre to me.
Yeah, he will.
With
He'll
his-
get one.
It's the same thing that's happened with Yannick and Justin Houston. Like,
Yeah, we didn't talk about that, but Yannick Ngakoue landing in Chicago. Love that signing.
great signing.
Love that Friday
Yeah,
P.
he's gonna get all the snaps that he can handle.
I had a lot of Ngakoue shares in best ball just because he's sitting there in
round
those
20.
Yeah,
round
exactly.
20, yeah.
People are snatching up, DBs and whatnot. I'm like, let me dip back in and grab Ngakoue.
I don't like how the Bears have kind of put together that defense though this offseason. That's an L in my mind from a franchise perspective. I don't think Ryan Pace has done that very well.
Yep.
All of a sudden you go and overpay for 2 linebackers and then you circle back around and kind of overpay Yannick, who is just kind of
He did get a lot of money.
he's been around a little bit. I just don't
He got
think
like
from
10 mil, didn't he?
Yeah.
Or around that.
from a money perspective, I don't think you've done a great job, but whatever.
You have to overpay when you're a bad team.
Yeah, exactly. It's that's what it felt like to me. It's like they didn't have a lot of people that were willing to come there, so they just wanted to make a big splash.
I guess so.
But it's like, man, you had to get linebackers.
That's the thing. That's what sets the sour taste in our mouth. Because let's say they just go the Jack Sanborn route, and maybe they grab like David Long or an Azeez Al-Shaair for cheap,
Yeah.
and then they go spend their money. Say they go
some
get
edges.
Hargrave.
Yeah.
They go grab.
Zach Allen.
Yes.
Jermont
What-
Jones.
Suddenly we feel much different.
Yeah.
It's just because they prioritize linebacker. Matt Eberflus was the Colts defensive coordinator. I think he's used to having 2 competent linebackers, so maybe he was in Ryan Pace's ear. But man, I think they just allocated their resources to the wrong position group.
really bad.
Agree.
Yep.
It's
So-
fine to make the mistake, but to like offer up just the contract years that they did to Tremaine.
know.
Just
It's a lot.
And then I think Ryan Pace said something after the Yannick signing to where it was like, yeah, I had a lot of fans reminding me that I was supposed to sign a defensive end. And it's just like, I don't know if that's a real quote or not, but if it is, it's just a bad look for a young GM.
Yeah, got 1 year, $10.5 million. $10 million guaranteed.
Good God.
That is a nice payday this late in the season.
Yeah.
So
Houston got a solid little deal. I mean, that's just, I guess, how it goes. Those guys are like, I'm not coming to work for you for less than $7 million or whatever.
yeah, and shout out our boy George Fant signing with the Houston Texans. Going to be starting now with Titus Howard, broken hand, out for 4 to 6 weeks.
So in Chicago, it's going to be Rashad Weaver opposite, maybe.
It's going to be DeMarcus Walker, I think, opposite.
Yeah, DeMarcus Walker.
is
Travis,
Weaver's in Tennessee.
Travis
Okay.
Gibson.
I thought he went up there.
Travis Gibson, DeMarcus Walker.
Al-Qadim Muhammad came back to
the
Indy.
Colts. Yep.
Okay. A lot of movement.
I think DeMarcus Walker. I still like DeMarcus Walker. I think
I do
he's
too.
a
That's what I was thinking about.
nice little dart throw.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Did he
fine.
come over from Tennessee?
Tennessee.
That's who you're thinking of. So
Kind of a late breakout type guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll see.
He'll get some snaps.
So Eagles, Reed Blankenship firmly ensconced, that's a great word, as one starter. Veteran Terrell Edmonds and fourth-year pro Kayvon Wallace have taken turns with the first-team defense, with rookie Sidney Brown getting a taste of first-team reps recently. Edmonds and Wallace are very close through the first couple weeks, but I'd say Wallace has been a bit more active and productive. The Eagles expect Brown to be the starter one day, and I think that will happen. But right now, I feel like Wallace has a slight lead over Edmonds. It's from Yahoo Sports.
Yeah, one of those secondaries that I'm probably just going to avoid.
Yep. Seems muddy.
I'm not really interested in.
Not
Also,
a lot of guys. What kind of upside are you capturing?
right? Like we don't know what type of player Sidney Brown is going to be. Like, what type of a lot of times like. After a few years, we kind of have an idea of like, oh, what type of player is this? Is he a playmaker? Is he getting the backfield a lot? Is he, does he have a knack for making big plays? Stuff like that. We don't know enough about what Sidney Brown is. But I mean, Reed Blankenship, pretty certain that he's not some stud. Same with Terrell Edmonds.
These are all Jags.
Yeah, all just a bunch of Jags.
Yep.
Rental type guys. Like, I'm just not interested in targeting.
They
anyone
want
from here.
Sidney Brown and Nakobe Dean and Jalen Carter to be the spine of that defense of the future. This team drafts really well.
Yeah.
So if they prioritize Sidney Brown, I like that guy. I do think he'll crack the rotation at some point this year because I think those other guys are just not really going to be super staunch in keeping Sidney Brown off the field. But sounds like these vets will probably get the nod early on.
Sure. Yeah.
So you got to keep in mind, guys, that you think even if the news isn't positive right now, because remember, Nick Cross was getting blown up last offseason. So the offseason hype doesn't always translate. It's like trust the analysis before we get into hype season, which is that Sidney Brown was a very good safety prospect who landed in a great situation. So I do think he cracks that room at some point, that role at some point this season.
Have y'all been seeing the Jordan Davis hype? It's people saying he looks a little faster, looks better
dude,
this year.
He's like lost a ton of weight.
Yep.
It looks like.
I'm kind of buying into that to some
looks,
extent.
He looks great.
Especially with that opportunity. I mean, I know Javon Hargrave, and there's still a bunch of guys there, but Jordan Davis could come back around to some IDP relevance this year. I'm not shipping him off as just an NFL defensive tackle guy.
He could easily be like a Derek Brown type player, a guy that soaks up 70 tackles. Probably not have a high sack upside, but I mean, who cares? I mean, in your leagues where you start defensive tackles, like if I can get someone that can give me 70 tackles, like that's useful. That's a DT too.
A relevant plug and play bye week fill in type of D tackle.
Solid
that's
floor.
Great. That's fantastic.
Gosh, maybe two of the most athletic defensive tackles that we've seen in the last 5 years, both at the Eagles, with him and Jalen Carter.
D-line is filthy.
That's insanity.
You got Milton Williams over there
just
with
hanging out. Like, bro, can I play?
9.8 RAS.
Yes. It's like, you unathletic dog. It's like, I got a 9.8 RAS.
They're making fun of him.
Yeah, it's like, you were so slow and unathletic. Let's talk about another good defensive line. The Cowboys' Micah Parsons has been making things difficult for whoever he lines up against, from reserve offensive tackles to starters like Tyron Smith and Terrence Steele. Pass rushers aren't allowed to hit the quarterback, but Parsons accidentally did so Tuesday, knocking Dak Prescott to the ground on a play that probably had many in the organization holding their breath. There's no question that Parsons is not only ready for the season, he's ready to make a run at NFL Defensive Player of the Year. He would be my pick for Defensive Player of the Year at this point. This dude seems like he had the quotes, I think, this week saying he wants to be the greatest Hall of Famer of all time. Like, I love that mentality.
Yeah, for sure.
We just saw another great Cowboys edge rusher. I get him and DeMarcus Lawrence confused, but it was the other great Cowboys edge rusher. I'll have to Google who it was, but they had another.
DeMarcus Ware.
Thank you, DeMarcus Ware, go into the Hall of Fame. So it's like you have a track record of excellence at this position that you are living up to, and I think Micah Parsons is going to do that. But opposite him, entering year 10, DeMarcus Lawrence looks like a player with some gas left in the tank. He has recorded multiple sacks in team drills and full pads and has looked fresh in individual work. The Cowboys' defensive end rotation is loaded with Parsons, Dante Fowler, Sam Williams, and Dorrance Armstrong, but Lawrence will continue being one of the biggest defensive contributors as long as he's able to stay healthy. Yep. That is from The Athletic.
That's always been the issue, right?
Yep.
The health stuff. I mean, but yeah, that guy is still very, very good. One of the top pass rushers in the league when he's healthy. And yeah, I mean, another great situation, someone you didn't even mention, was Mozzie Smith, who's apparently just tearing it up in camp as well.
Yeah. Ndamukong Suh comps is what I'm hearing.
I mean, he could potentially be massive for that defensive line and the pieces around him. So, you mentioned Sam Williams. I really like Sam Williams to have a nice breakout this year.
I would love to see it. The Athletic Football Show ranked their top 10 defenses. Both Robert and Nate picked the Dallas Cowboys as the best defense in the NFL.
I think so too. And it's one of those teams where you're kind of like, you're not really blown away by stars. Like, I mean,
look at their linebackers.
Right.
It's LVE and
Damone Clark.
And
then look at the safeties too. It's like Jerron Kearse,
Mm-hmm.
Donovan Wilson, Malik Hooker, these guys that have kind of been like no names, bounce around a little bit.
Malik Hooker was, I think, a first-round pick who washed out in Indy, but just got extended by Dallas.
Yep.
So shout out Malik.
Corner, they're pretty solid. Digg just got a massive deal.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, this isn't a team that's just loaded full of studs,
Great defensive
like
coordinator.
49ers or something. Like,
But some good rotation, though. Dorrance Armstrong.
They are deep.
Oso Odigizua.
Yep.
Solid in the front for sure.
Yep.
And probably, I mean, up there for best defensive coordinator in the league in Dan Campbell.
But Parsons does a lot to get that.
It helps when you have the best defensive player in the league.
Yeah.
Yes.
In some time.
He's the X factor, no doubt about it.
Yep.
So let's wrap up with the NFC North and talk Lions. We mentioned Aiden Hutchinson earlier. He has been an absolute problem, and it doesn't matter if he's working against the second-team offense or the first. He's been living in the backfield, which is precisely what you want to see from your former number 2 overall pick. He's notched a few sacks in the scrimmage and is far more disruptive in these settings than he was a year ago. So, I mean, Aiden Hutchinson, even though you are paying that sexy sticker price, I think he's going to live up to it this season.
Yeah, we knew about the work ethic, and I mean, it's he's shown it. That's why he was drafted above Kayvon. I mean, it was because of stuff like that, and you just like that in your guys. You like guys that like care and want to be great, and that seems exactly what Aiden is.
In IDP, it seems like he could take a step into that Nick Bosa, Myles Garrett category in this next season.
Yeah,
I agree. Could be loading a top 5, top 6 type of edge rusher type of season.
And honestly,
for Hutchinson.
If you're looking at best ball for 2024, you could see maybe TJ Watt's getting a little bit older. You could maybe see him be the one that steps out and Aiden be the one that kind of steps into that big 5 of Garrett, Bosa, Micah Parsons, Aiden Hutchinson, and Max Crosby.
Dude, how loaded is the edge rusher position?
Good
I know
Lord.
we're retreading a topic from last episode, but
It's
man,
so good.
The NFL is in such a good spot
It's
right
so
now.
good, and it's so important that you make that position valuable in your leagues.
Yes.
I'm going to have a roster construction, roster setup type something come out here pretty soon, and that's what we're going to hammer on. It's just with the way the NFL is now, you cannot let guys at that position not be valuable.
Yep. The NFL values them too much, so we should as well. This is an interesting take. This is from Colton Pouncey at The Athletic. When the first team defense took the field, this is the group I saw. Aiden Hutchinson and Charles Harris at edge, Josh Paschal and Aleem McNeil at defensive tackle, Jack Campbell and Alex Anzalone at LB, Cam Sutton and Jerry Jacobs at corner, C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Kirby Joseph at safety, and Brian Branch at nickel. Tracy Walker was with the second team.
Josh Pascal at DT.
Yeah,
That's
that's
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't really fit that bill from a body type perspective.
Also interesting, we're not hearing much about Justin Houston. A guy that put up 8.5 sacks.
Did you see his comments from earlier this offseason?
He wasn't sure about how
He's like, I don't know how I'm going to be used. I want to be out there, but I guess they'll get me out there when they get me out there.
It's just odd because, I mean, there's outside of Aiden Hutchinson, it's like
I'd rather have James Houston than Charles Harris.
Let's throw this guy that lit the league on fire.
Yes. What are we doing? Is he getting the Frankie Louvu treatment where they're just putting him in bubble wrap and going to unleash him on the league week 1?
Maybe so.
Hope so.
It seems like Jack Campbell's playing week 1. It seems like that might be trending to be the.
I think Jack Campbell could be the LB1 for them by like week 4.
Yeah.
I think it's going to happen really quick. That's something I want to monitor.
There's just such a lack of talent there at linebacker that it's going to be hard to tell Jack, no, you're going to play with the second team this week.
I want to see a film breakdown of Alex Anzalone running around the wrong direction and Jack Campbell being in the exact right spot from the first 2 weeks of the season. It's going to be hilarious to watch the film comparison between those two guys.
Chauncey Gardner-Johnson could be a candidate for a top 5 defensive back in IDP in 2023, I think. I think this sets up really well for his skill set, for the lack of linebacking production there in Detroit, and for a team that we expect to be really good in 2023. I think he is very, very important to not only the Lions, but I think he's going to be a sneaky good IDP this year.
Going to bring the juice, the attitude.
Yep.
And yeah, he's one of the few guys on that defense that knows how to make plays and has a track record of doing it.
If this is the setup, Kirby Joseph is going to play deep. I mean, clearly, Kirby Joseph is not a box safety, in my opinion. Gardner-Johnson is going to be the guy that's the strong safety down in the box and is racking up the tackles. I think this sets up really well for him to have a good season.
He is safety 11, DB 14. That feels appropriately priced.
What round is that?
So he is 135 overall. So 144 would be the 12th. So he's like a 12th round pick.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Still too high.
That's going to be the answer for all of these safeties, unless they're going in like the 17th round or beyond. But where they're being drafted, I think that feels appropriate for
Tracy Walker
the safety pecking order.
Walker did an Achilles.
But I mean, the reports have been that he's been okay too and fine. Yeah, yeah. I mean, they got a lot of good players in that secondary now.
He is,
and a lot of guys that can kind of do the same thing, like a lot of slot corner types. Like Kirby Joseph can play slot. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's really good in the slot.
Smaller guy.
Then you brought in Cameron Sutton from Pittsburgh, who was exclusively a slot corner. So, I mean, what are these? Brian Branch, didn't you mention him? He's also very familiar with the slot.
Is Julian and Romeo both there, the Aquaras?
I know Romeo is.
Let's see where Julian Aquara
Probably.
is.
That's kind of another one, even over Charles Harris, where it's like,
Julian's there as well.
Okay. Huh.
I know. It's just a weird – that defensive end, too, that edge, too, there is just –
never done much.
Yeah, they're both in the Lions.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Just
Big
big
play with
question
your
mark.
bro.
Huh.
Let's talk about your team, Addy. Or no, we're gonna talk about the Packers first. Then we'll talk about the Vikings. There's a lot of buzz coming out of the Vikings camp, so I'm excited to get to them. But let's talk about Lucas Van Ness. Took his first snaps with the starters at edge rusher opposite Preston Smith, with Rashawn Gary still on the PUP list. He did come off that list while he rehabs his knee. Van Ness was a disruptive force during the Packers' Family Day Open Training Session 2. Man, it's going to be interesting to see. Where would you all kind of stack these first-round edge rushers in terms of who finishes the season with the highest snap percentage?
Kyborg, shout out Borgononi, took Van Ness, I think, at the 202 in our mock. And we kind of giggled at it because it's, it was higher than his standard ADP. But I think Van Ness could be maybe one of the best producing edges out of this class.
It's up for grabs at behind Will Anderson at edge 2.
Yeah.
Will Anderson, I think, assuming health for all these guys,
yeah,
he's going to get a ton of snaps, like north of 80%
But
of
aside
snaps.
from Will Anderson, who's the number 2?
That's a great question. Is it going to be FAU? Is it going to be Tyree Wilson? Is it going to be Will McDonald? Lucas Van Ness?
Is it going to be Nolan Smith?
Nolan Smith?
LVN has a good shot, I would think.
Depends on Rashawn Gary.
Yeah.
If Gary is right, then probably not Lucas Van Ness.
But I still feel like they're going to be conservative with Gary.
Yep. And Preston Smith is not like a world beater.
No, he's like 31, 32.
He's a rotational guy.
Who has the opportunity? FAU probably has the clearest path.
Today, yes. But I still see Kansas City bringing somebody else in.
You have Chandler Jones ahead of Tyree Wilson. Wilson not practicing right now. Will McDonald, we mentioned that room is very crowded. Nolan Smith,
Is Chris Jones still holding out?
I think so, yeah. So
Maybe
he's
sign him.
holding in.
Okay.
He's
Miles
there.
Murphy, obviously behind Hendrickson and
Yep.
Hubbard. That's tough. I mean, Tyree Wilson, if he could get the health right, I mean, he would vault up there, I think.
I'll say Van Ness, man.
Van Ness has a good shot.
He
And
was
also,
a really high draft pick.
I'll go with FAU, assuming they don't bring in someone else, which, I mean, we'll see. They still could. There's
and that's
guys
a good
out
call
there.
too, because we saw Karlaftis get like 700 snaps last
Yep.
year.
Yep. And it's those two guys right now. So, all right, let's talk about the Vikes. And one man has stolen the show at Vikings training camp. It is Ivan Pace Jr. He is having a tremendous camp so far. He is explosive, hitting the right gaps and making plays. There isn't quite enough there for him to be a starter, as he doesn't stack and shed well enough to be an every down player. But as we've said before, there is absolutely a role in this team for Pace. Don't be surprised if he gets a high snap share from the onset of the regular season. To kind of pair that with the Ivan Pace news, Brian Asamoah has been inconsistent. He's essentially Lewis Seen in linebacker form, an explosive weapon that is improving, but he doesn't make the best decisions. This two-play sequence from Asamoah is all you need to know about where his game is at. Play 1, shoots the gap, tackle for loss. Play 2, picks the wrong gap, 10-yard gain. When he is on, Asamoah is a true game wrecker. When he misses, which admittedly is less than the last year, it can turn into a game-changing play. There is still time during practice for Asamoah to work through things. The excitement is still there.
Yeah. Luckily for Asamoah, I think he's going to have a long leash just because there isn't that much around him, right? I mean, Ivan Pace Jr., this is great. I mean, this is amazing. We were so bummed that this guy went undrafted just because usually, I mean, it's not very likely that you're going to be relevant.
It's hard.
But he did land in a room that's not that scary. It's Asamoah, who is still
Second
figuring
year.
things out, right? And then it's Jordan Hicks, a journeyman, linebacker who I think is over 30 at this point. So, I mean, really, really good situation for Pace Jr. And you have to remember, Pace Jr., like, production-wise, this guy was absolutely insane.
Yep.
At Cincinnati last year, 13 games, 136 tackles, 20 and a half TFLs, and 9 sacks. The PFF grades were also amazing for Pace Jr. last year. 93.1 overall PFF grade. In 22, it was an 83.0 PFF grade. So, I mean, production-wise, it does not get better than Ivan Pace Jr. So, opportunity. If he gets an opportunity, this is someone that you have to roster on your team just because he could be a stat sheet stuffer that we've not really seen. Like someone that can get tackles. It was kind of like Frankie Louvu.
Yep.
I mean, that stat line is kind of
0 to hero.
Yeah, that's kind of like a similar, and just the way he scores, gets a lot of tackles, also has the ability to sack the quarterback.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of what you could maybe see if everything falls perfectly for Ivan Pace Jr. Still very unlikely. You got to always remember this guy's undrafted. But
Wouldn't that be fun with him?
it would be
Brian
fun.
Asamoah?
That would be fun.
Yep. It's Jordan Hicks, which, he's fine.
And, I mean, they got Brian Flores there, who is a hard ass. I mean, so if Asamoah does end up sucking or, keeps messing up, like, he'll get someone in there to try and, improve things. So, I mean, there's a scenario where Pace Jr. gets significant snaps, and then what can you do with those snaps? I mean, if he does anything like he did in college, like, you have a league-winning type linebacker on your team.
I'm rostering him.
Yes.
Oh,
It's
100%.
worth it. It's totally worth the upside.
Absolutely. There's enough of a nebulous kind of situation behind Asamoah as the Vikes LB2 that I'll take a shot. I mean, I remember how bummed Macri was this guy didn't get drafted. He loved Ivan Pace.
Yeah.
So I would love to see it happen. It's just going to be really tough, and I'm not expecting anything year one, but I'll roster him, put him on a taxi squad, and just see what happens.
The Vikings are a bizarre team this year. Just a weird setup right now. Letting Dalvin Cook walk, letting Zadarius Smith go to the Browns. Danielle Hunter got a new deal.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
So
Little
that's-
raise.
So that's good, a little bit of a bump, but it's just a weird setup. I mean, the Vikings were really close last year. I mean, weren't they like 10-1 or something like that? They
They
were.
were 13-3.
It was one of those seasons, though, where it's like the games could have gone either way.
Yeah, they were leading in like I think it was 8 points and under. They were like 9-1,
Yes.
something insane. Quite the opposite for like the Denver Broncos. Maybe you're right. Maybe they were a little bit of fool's gold last year, but man, I don't know. Weird team, weird setup right now for Kirk Cousins, for all of them.
But weirdly enough, you're right. I mean, they've lost a ton on defense. When you look at this team compared to last year, yeah, I mean, it's totally different. But you brought in Brian Flores, one of the most respected defensive coordinators in the league. And, I mean, it probably doesn't matter. Probably doesn't matter they lost all these dudes. That defense, I mean, honestly, I could see that defense being better, which doesn't make sense when you think, oh, they've lost Darius Smith, they've lost Eric Hendricks.
Jordan Hicks
they got a good DC in there.
They've
now.
added
That
some good
matters
talent, though.
so much.
Yeah.
We see it all the time.
Jordan Hicks could be a nice little like ugly play this year.
Yes.
He could just
He'll
rack up
probably
a bunch of gross
start the
tackles.
season alongside Asamoah.
Yeah.
And depending on how Asamoah does, he could be getting the most snaps there. We could look up again and say,
Dang.
freaking Jordan Hicks did it again, man.
Because I mean, Minnesota is gonna be solid enough to win games, right? I mean, I think they should make the playoffs with that offense. So I mean, they're gonna want to make sure that they're putting out a good product on the field. Like if one of those guys aren't getting done, like I said, like they're gonna replace them.
Okay, I take it back. Jordan Hicks is going 5 spots ahead of Brian Asamoah right now.
Yeah,
That
I
seems
don't have
rich.
any Jordan Hicks.
That seems LB 34, Asamoah is LB 39, which is wild to me.
Oh my
tough.
gosh!
Tough.
That's crazy.
I was thinking Hicks would be in like the 50s or 60s.
Come on, people. Come on.
No.
Wow.
Don't be scared.
Ivan Pace probably just undrafted in a bunch of these best
No,
balls.
I don't think he's been drafted in.
Yeah, let's see if
Any
he
of
even
Man, he's
shows
a
up
sneaky
on the
little one.
spreadsheet.
Like
He's LB 102,
the last round or two, where it's
right,
just like,
right behind Christian Ellis of the Eagles. So there you go.
That hype just started recently.
Yes, it
Yeah.
did. The drum beat just started going.
We mentioned him on the pod. I mean, in passing, we definitely did like 2 months ago.
Yeah. So,
here it comes.
all right, let's wrap up with the Bears. Coach Matt Eberflus said of the new signing of Yannick Ngakoue that we talked about, we see him as an every down in, so he's going to have to play in those early down situations, and he's done it. He's been good at it, and we've got to make sure that he sharpens that part of it as well, and he will do that. We're excited where he is in terms of being an every down defensive end from us. This is coming from the head coach, y'all. Safety Jaquan Brisker led the team in sacks last season. That tells you everything you need to know about why they gave Yannick Ngakoue $10.5 million. So Ngakoue is expected to receive plenty of opportunities to rush the passer. Talk about yucky, kind of just not gross names, but just like not a guy you're excited about. Plug Yannick Ngakoue in early in the season. This dude's going to get a ton of run.
100%. What is he going to see? 900 snaps this year, probably.
If he can handle it, absolutely.
Probably. I mean, if they're talking about using him on all downs, like maybe he sets a career high in tackles too, you know, which that's never been his game. Like saying he's an every down player. No, he's not.
He's a pass rush specialist. What are you talking about, Matt or Eberflus? His name's Matt, right? Matt
Yeah,
Eberflus?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm not looking at the notes. I was looking at Yannick Ngakoue's ADP, which is Edge 67.
Wow.
DL 87. That is just delicious value.
That'll go up until like the 50. It'll still be like he'll still be a good value.
Yeah.
Just because I mean he's on the Bears and
Yeah. Nobody's really excited
And also,
about
there
that.
are really good edge. There's a huge edge pool this year. Really good edge pool.
Are you buying the Bears turnaround this year?
I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be 6 or 7 wins.
Hell
But there's
no.
like Fields MVP talk and
No,
like
that shit's crazy.
I know. I
And
mean,
DJ Moore's gonna have a breakout. See, what do they talk? Well, no, he's not.
They
don't throw it hardly at all.
Well, they talked about he's the betting favorite right now. They failed to mention what are the odds, because that's the thing. That's what's going to be driving MVP bets. Is like what are the? He probably has great odds.
who Fields?
Fields, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like if
Yeah.
he probably like I don't know 50 to 1. I don't know
because you don't
what.
want to bet on Mahomes. Bet
Exactly.
$1 to
Yeah,
lose
exactly.
$1.20.
You want to try to
Yeah.
win. So that was always a bit misleading. Of like, oh my God, the public think no, he's just probably a really good bet
Yeah.
in terms of the odds you can
yeah,
get
value wise.
value wise. Exactly.
I just don't think the Bears are going to turn around as much as public perception right now.
Yeah, they'll be
I get
fine.
the
They won
hype.
2 games last year.
Yeah.
They will be better.
I mean, are they still the worst team in the division? I mean, who knows with the Packers? Jordan Love. We'll
Jordan
see.
Love's a big old question
But
mark.
that defense is still solid.
Yep.
The defense is
Yeah.
still way better than Chicago's defense.
Yes.
I'll take Green Bay over Chicago.
I think I would too.
Detroit's better than Chicago, and so
Minnesota's
is
better.
Minnesota. So yeah, they're the worst team in that division.
I still think the Detroit line is still kind of. I'm not buying into Detroit just yet. Like they've still. I mean, we just read their defense. It was just like, I don't
They
know.
got opening night against the Chiefs, man. The public is
Yeah.
in on the line. I'm
public-
with you. I think it's a little rich.
The public is.
I think it's a little rich.
Yep, I agree.
I
People
think
are
that's-
excited about the Lions, aren't they?
I think that's
Gibbs.
9-10 win team, optimistically.
And Campbell. Dan Campbell's just a likable
Jared Goff's
personality.
being talked up. That's a win-win. We'll see. Maybe.
When do they have to pay him again?
I mean, he's coming up
He's
soon.
coming up.
Yeah.
Is that something that you do?
Do you just get stuck with it because you win 9 or 10 games and you're not picking high enough to take a quarterback?
Probably just tag him, right? I
Yeah.
mean, he's got like Goff has like that Kirk Cousins in him a little bit.
Yeah.
Like he can sling it. Like he's a little slept on, I think. Like
He is, Bobby, they always talked
Yeah.
about it with Chris Wessling.
Prime
It was
rating.
the Dalton scale, who is the prime rating of quarterbacks. And he is the point at which if you're on this side of the line from Jared Goff, you have your franchise quarterback. If you're on this side of the line, you need a franchise quarterback. But if you're Jared Goff, you are stuck in this purgatory, this limbo of, well, Goff could be the guy, but maybe we also need a quarterback. So you're just on this seesaw of just indecision when it comes to your franchise quarterback.
So you draft a quarterback in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this is probably not going to work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to do something, right?
Yeah.
We got to take a swing.
Because we have Jared Goff. I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly. But he's good enough. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
like you're
it's not a
talking
good
yourself
spot.
into it.
Some weird moves from Detroit. Letting, DeAndre Swift is now gone.
Gibbs, though.
That's true. They do have Jahmyr Gibbs.
Why
but
not
maybe
just keep-
even was a bit of a reach.
Just keep him.
I don't
Might
know.
have got to be a little more. Maybe
I think
Swift. Swift probably has like a little bit of a toot about it.
Yeah, I
or-
think that team hates DeAndre Swift.
Yeah.
Did they
I think the
draft
coaches
him?
hate Swift.
No, they didn't draft him.
They did.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying Campbell didn't draft DeAndre
No.
Swift.
Right.
He was prior
Right.
regime.
And yeah, I'm sure he didn't fit with Campbell.
Jamison Williams really isn't working out right now.
No.
Constantly just kind of having
Suspended for
issues,
6 games, and then you're not hearing
ACL.
the hype.
Yep. Amon-Ra though was pretty
Oh,
dang
boy.
nice.
Yeah.
He's great.
But I
That's
don't
going to
have
be
him-
a fun opening night. Chiefs and Lions.
And I really like Marvin Jones back there
Yeah, I
too,
do too.
man.
Yep.
I think he's always been slept on.
Because Goff throws the ball a lot. Even though like Campbell can say what he wants to about running the ball, he lets Jared Goff sling the ball to some extent.
Oh, and Sam Laporta.
Yeah, it
just
looks fancy.
getting Great reviews.
I was listening to the Ballers the other day, speaking of Kyborg, and they were talking about how could this be the first year that we see 4 relevant rookie tight ends: Laporta,
Luke Musgrave.
Kincaid, Musgrave, and I think they were even talking Michael Mayer down in
They just
Las
released
Vegas.
O.J. Howard.
Yep. But they do have one other guy there that's kind of a vet, but I still think Mayer's going to get some play with Jimmy G.
So there you go,
They have
folks.
Austin Hooper.
That's it. That's
Some IDP talk, a little bit of just general NFL talk. You get it all on the IDP show. That's what we like to do. We like talking ball, and the season is drawing ever closer, guys. We will have actual football games to talk about the next time we are with you
Wow.
all.
Let's finish with a question here. Let's
Oh,
think
Bobo's
about
getting deep on us.
who do you want to go get right now? What's the training camp got you hot for? Maybe value, maybe not. IDP wise, who do you feel like is an
Probably-
acquirable target?
Probably no one that's getting hyped. You
Yeah,
know,
that's true.
I sent out a trade offer for Kenneth Walker. If I'm going after guys right now, it's guys that are being faded because of injury.
Stocks down a
Yes.
little bit. You're looking for the rise.
Scoop in, grab the value. Zach Charbonnet's got people scared.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's smart. That's
I
smart.
love Kenneth
Jermaine
Walker.
Pratt, I think, would be a solid target with Logan Wilson getting the extension. Like, I don't know. People don't like him. You can probably get him for a 5th.
Yeah.
Guys that like that. I mean, otherwise, like, everyone knows about Jalen Phillips. Everyone knows about Kayvon. Like, it's too late to buy those
Yep.
types at this point.
For sure.
I don't know, but then like those weird guys like the Cameron Thomas, like players like that haven't quite broken out yet. Like that's who I would be targeting at this point.
I like that.
Could you go get a Sam Williams or a Jermaine Johnson before they start to get more and more buzz as the
Potentially.
season goes along?
Yeah, that's a good. I mean, like obviously, like Tyree Wilson's a great buy.
Yep.
You know, especially with the foot stuff scaring people. Will McDonald, in
know,
the season,
cash
when he's
in on
not getting-
injuries because people want to see their guys playing in the
Yeah.
preseason. They want to hear good training camp reports, and if they're on the shelf, that puts them in a mind state of, well, this guy really hadn't done much.
Name a defensive end for the Los Angeles Rams.
No, I will not.
Yeah, Byron Young. We'll see what he turns
And I
into.
think he
Yaya
is
Yaya
hurt.
Diaby, right?
He's on
Yaya.
Tampa Bay.
Yep,
Tampa
he's
Bay.
moved.
Michael Howitt or whatever.
Like, well, heck,
Hecht.
Hecht.
Goodness gracious.
isn't he like an interior guy?
Maybe.
That team's so bad.
I know.
That team may win 3 games.
Aaron Donald might be on a different team this time next year.
Boy.
It just depends on what his career is.
It is
looking like.
Ernest Jones. It is Aaron Donald. And
Cooper
now,
Kupp
it's,
is hurt.
and now it's John
If
Johnson.
Cooper Kupp is hurt, we're in big trouble.
I thought you said Pooper Cup, and I was like,
Puka Nacua.
he could be Pooper Cup.
I don't know about IDPs that I really want to try to acquire now. I've kind of.
This is the season.
I think it's vets. I think if you're acquiring
Yeah.
guys, it's vets. Like, I mean, Javon Hargrave, I think would be a great buy.
Sure.
What could you go get Hargrave for a third? That's someone that can help you potentially for another 3 years.
It's all
I think.
dependent on who. Josh is not taking a third for Javon Hargrave, but
You're not.
Probably not a third. I've got a lot of thirds.
If you're
so-
rebuilding, I mean, okay, but you have a lot of thirds.
Yeah, so it's all contextual. You may be able to get him for a
But
third.
you're not getting a second for him. No
Yeah.
one's. I don't think anyone's giving
Someone-
you a second.
someone should take a third for Javon Hargrave.
Right.
That's a very modest value.
I've got him in a league, and I would love for someone to come and he's worth that. Someone should come give me a third for him.
Someone should give you a second. We're talking about defensive tackle required leagues, especially.
In those types of leagues, you can make
Set
the
it-
argument for that.
Set it and forget it. Defensive tackles are very valuable.
A little who'd you get? I did just a couple weeks ago. I have Aaron Donald, but I did go get Christian Wilkins because I'm kind of worried for the post Aaron Donald life, which I feel like is probably coming soon.
That's not good because I'm
Yeah.
probably going to flag plant Aaron Donald this year. I've been thinking about mine. I'm thinking Devondre Campbell, Aaron Donald, probably just these guys I've been drafting like crazy in best ball. Speaking of which, folks, theidpshow.com, I think I just created 13 new leagues. We're about to launch 13 new drafts. I wanted to get us to 75 total so that we could then make about 25 more the rest of the offseason. See if we can get to 100. We're pushing.
Sure.
If we can, we're fine. It's
Yeah,
okay.
it's okay.
We've
got
done way more than anyone else.
Plenty of
Pushing to
drafts.
82.
Yeah, plenty of drafts and plenty of ADP.
That's about 74 more than anyone else in IDP has
The
done this year.
right.
ADP is why you sub. It's so
it's
valuable.
incredible.
It's insane
game
what the young
changer.
king has gotten in there and surmised.
And I love it because you can look up to see Madness versus the actual ADP. So if
Yeah.
you want to compare to see who went later in Madness versus who went compared to their ADP, you can.
And our friends know. We have our friends that are using
right.
it and on their websites, and footballguys.com has adopted our ADP. So, I mean,
The training camp hype is here. It's the IDP show. It's Jake Colhagen. It's Evan Ronda. It's Jace Abbey. It's insane right now the amount of
Boo Bam crushing
content.
it.
Boo Bam crushing it on the
is
Twitter
killing
front.
the IDP
Yes.
minutes.
Shout out.
If you're not following, if you're not subbed, you're just
You're behind, and
you are.
you're not going to win.
Yep.
You will not win.
So check us out, theidpshow.com. We're probably about to send out the links to a lot of these drafts. So come sign up as a sub. You'll get Adam's best ball rankings.
The
You'll get
DST
ADP.
rankings are ridiculous. I messaged Adam and Josh the other day about this. Like, hey, this might be worth doing. I look up. Adam has a small novel already
Yes.
written in about a day.
As he does.
And I know a bunch of y'all are normies. Y'all play a bunch of just standard offense, only
DST league.
Good for you
fantasy.
guys.
Yeah, it's awesome. This is perfect for y'all.
We have a DST league. Our home league is DST.
When is that, by the way?
I still enjoy it. Still
Yeah.
a good time.
Draft coming up.
Oh, yeah, maybe. We'll figure it out. Every year we're like
Yeah.
figuring it out at the
Hey,
ninth hour.
Jefferson's
so.
going back to the pot.
That's right.
Is he really?
He's back in.
I think he's back in now.
I'm going all 200.
We do a keeper league.
200, baby.
All right,
Last
boys.
year with Jamar.
We got to wrap up this episode. Somehow we went as long as last time. So we just got a lot to say. We got a lot to talk about. So when we come back, next time you hear from us, we will be talking actual preseason action, some takeaways from the first 2 weeks of games, because John Macri will be back with you all next week talking 3-down linebackers with the Green Dot King, Mike Wohlert. And then after that, he'll have his flag plant episode, his My Guys episode with Gary Davenport. We've got flag plants coming up. We're going to talk about some preseason takeaways next episode. So, the season's drawing closer. I can feel it.
I miss Macri. Miss him every day.
Let's get him down
Me
here.
too.
Now, very exciting announcement. John probably will be talking about this. He started to float it a little bit on Twitter, but they are doing a weekly IDP episode for the PFF Fantasy Podcast. Adam is going to be the week 1 guest. Bobby and I will be on there as well at some point.
I ain't visiting that pod.
Yeah, I saw the guest list. It is mucho good, the guest list that John has put together. So make sure you're subbed to that pod as well. Him and Nathan are doing great work over on that show. And it's just really cool to see PFF give John and give IDP a weekly episode in their podcast. So we are very excited for John and very excited to be on that show as well.
Here for Macri's
Yep.
glow up.
That's right.
Absolutely.
We knew it was coming. We knew it was coming.
He's the best at it. I mean, he deserves everything that's coming his way, and we couldn't be more proud of that dude.
We love you, John. We love you as well, and we will see you next time here on the IDP Show. Y'all take care, and we'll see you soon.
It's the IDP